Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and welcome to my midweek news live stream, whatever you want to call it. Merry Christmas again, because it's still the Christmas season. Oh, I'm not wearing my Christmas hat this time because my Santa hat, because it makes me head itch. So I'll wear my regular one. But still got my lights on. Anyway, so we've got some news stories tonight. We're live on Rumble, YouTube. Yes, we are. We should be live on Rumble. So let me refresh this page. Well, where are you going? There we go. And yes, we're live on Rumble. And fingers crossed, I'm hoping we're live on X/Twitter. I'm hoping. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're live on Twitter as well. If you go to my Twitter page. Cool. I didn't know if it'd work. I didn't know if it'd work. Windgrace is here. Yes, I see Santa on the shirt. Yes, well, it's a skull, and it says "Rebel without a clause," and it's obviously a play on Santa Claus, but they spelt it with an e on the end. But it's obviously not "Rebel without a cause" because I don't bloody know. But anyway, yes. So that's the festive T-shirt. Right. So, what have I said? Right. Oh, yes. Later on, I'm not. By the way, we're not on Twitch. I'm not doing Twitch anymore. I think my upcoming, what I've set up already, my upcoming Magnificent Mondays and one appointment with Fear, they'll go on to Twitch because I've set them up with Twitch and I can't be bothered editing it and taking them out again. And I won't be doing Kick again. And what else? I'm not going to bother uploading them to Spotify either because no bugger watches them. So it just says 0 watches on most of them, maybe 1, but that could be me. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm not bothering with those either. I'm just going to focus on YouTube and Rumble, and we'll see how we go on Twitter. I'm going to retweet this. You never know. Some people might watch me on Twitter. Sorry, X. So we're live on X as well. Not live on Facebook. But I do have an account and an Instagram account. Blah, blah, blah. Links in the description. As has links for my 2 books. There we go. Mercury Rapids, light-hearted sci-fi action adventure about UFOs and stuff. Have you noticed I've changed that as well? So it's see-through now. You can see all the screen behind the thing. And Silent Predator, a short horror novella about big cats eating people in North Yorkshire. It's fiction. Oliver. Sorry, it's a friend. One's a big, thick book. One's a little thin book. They're on Amazon, Kindle and paperbacks. Just a bit of fun. Give them a whirl. Please. Right. So let's get on with this news then, shall we? Let's get on with this news. Hang on, let me get sorted here. Just bear with me. Just bear with me. I need to get rid of that. There we go. Right, we're off. Oh, what's happened there? That was weird. Right, off we go. Spladosh. Oh, I've gone wrong. Hang on, make myself tiny. Do me what I'd normally do. There we go. There we go. Why is there a black bar over there? Never mind. Pardon me. But maybe if I go full screen, it'll do it. Hang on. Will it get rid of that? No, still haven't got rid of that. Never mind. Never mind. It kind of it's getting rid of me. It's spoiling me aesthetic. Never mind. Right, so first up, Richard Franklin, Doctor Who and Rogue One, a Star Wars story actor, dead at 87. This is from Christmas Day. There's always a celebrity dies on Christmas Day, isn't there? British actor who starred on both stage and screen died in his sleep Monday after a long-term illness, which is very sad. Richard Franklin, better known for his portrayal of Captain Mike Yates during John Pertwee's run of Doctor Who, has died at 87. So that's going back. That's early 70s, isn't it? Maybe late 60s, but early 70s at least. He was a member of UNIT. I think he ended up being a baddie, if I remember correctly. He ended up turning and ended up in his last, when he were finally in his last turn as Captain Yates. I think he was a bad guy. I think. I could be wrong. The actor's death Monday morning was confirmed by Liam Rudden, a friend of Franklin's who ran his social media. Rudden shared in the family statement that the late actor had died in his sleep after fighting long-term illness. Well, that's 87. It's a good day. I hope I live to be 87. I hope I last another 30 years. We are deeply saddened by his loss. We will fondly remember him for his generosity, creative spirit, and fantastic storytelling, the statement continues. He's also well remembered outside the family for his long-running career in TV and theatre, where he delighted audiences of all ages. This gave him great joy, and we know his legacy will last. Rudden continued to share tributes on Franklin's X page, sharing that Franklin would have loved that he is trending and writing. One thing I love about managing Richard's social media was reading him your messages. He was always surprised and humbled by the love shown to him. And it was very much reciprocated. That love is so evident right now, and I'm sure will be of great comfort to his family. And there's the X post, tweet, what do we call them? With a picture of him as a young man, as Captain Yates, and in his later years. The long-time stage actor made his TV debut in the 1966 episode of the British series Dixon of Dock Green, which was about a British bobby, with the police helmet on and all that, and used to go evening all. He used to bob down and that. The name of the actor now that played Dixon of Dock Green. Oh, it's not coming to me. Sci-fi questions here. Hi, pal, bit late, but I made it. You haven't missed anything. We just started. And DJ's here as well. Hello, my good friends. Hello, DJ. Welcome to the show. Where are we? Who played Dixon of Dock Green? Sci-fi quest. You're British. I can't remember his name. I remember him being in a film. What film was it? It was the 1951 version of A Christmas Carol, which is just called Scrooge, with Alistair Sim. He were in that, and I can see his credits on the screen, but I've forgotten his name. I can't. It's all a jumble. Never mind. Whatever. We're talking about Richard Franklin in Dixon of Dock Green before his screen breakout in a 9-episode run of ITV soap Crossroads. Remember that, British people? I do. With old Meg Mortimer and the other one, the other manager, David, can't remember. Anyway, he would go on to appear in The Doctors, Little Women miniseries, and The Borgias in one-off appearances, alongside more recent film appearances, including in 2016's Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. I have no idea who he played in that. Didn't even know he were in it. He will be best known for his turn as a regular on Emmerdale Farm, later called Emmerdale, where he portrayed Dennis Rigg for 2 years. He would also appear as Captain Yates, Mike Yates, of UNIT in Doctor Who from 71 to 74 during Pertwee's run, a character he would return to again and again for Doctor Who, Dimensions in Time, and other spin-off media. So there we go. As I said, I think Mike Yates ended up being a baddie. I think I could be wrong. There we go. Richard Franklin's passed away Christmas Day at the age of 87. But let's say, I hope I live to be 87. Wingrace asks, hope everyone had a good Christmas. Yes, I did anyway. And that's all that matters. As long as I'm all right. Right, let's move on. Right, what's next? Doctor Who. Oh, where are you going? This is from The Independent. Oh, by the way, that was in the Hollywood Reporter. Abby White was the author of that article. This is from The Independent. Jacob Stolworthy. That's a good name, isn't it? Right, Doctor Who fans left mystified by unexpected TARDIS revelation in Christmas special. Fans are now obsessing over the identity of an intriguing new character. Right. Oh, by the way, I've not read any of these articles, so I'm guessing this might be about the Anita Dobson character, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's read on. Doctor Who, by the way, I didn't watch the Doctor Who Christmas special. Well, I saw the first 10 minutes of it and turned it off. It were getting on my nerves. Not because, I don't like shooty gatwork or anything like that. It was actually because I was just getting angry at Millie Gibson listening to a baby monitor Obviously, something was happening with the baby because we could hear all this noise on the baby monitor. And she was just standing there looking at it. So I turned it off because I got angry. That stupid program. Anyway, Doctor Who fans have been left mystified by an unexpected mid-credits scene featured in the latest Christmas special. The BBC series returned on Monday, 25th of December, for a brand new instalment titled The Chooch. The Chooch on Ruby Road. The Church on Ruby Road. Comma question mark. Comma full stop. I haven't even been drinking tonight. The episode marked the first full adventure for Shooty Gatwa, who knocked it out of the park after arriving earlier this month. That, by the way, that's in quotes, so somebody said that, haven't they? Who said that? Who says that? Just in their review. After arriving earlier this month in a scene that broke from tradition. Yes, as has been suggested, he sprouted from from David Tennant's groin. Anyway, Windgrace quietly sits in the corner. He liked it, you see. Windgrace quite liked it. I didn't. Lots of people did, and that's fine. Sci-Fi Quest says there's a reboot of Labyrinth, but I thought Doctor Who did that, singing the Goblin King and a baby. Didn't get that far, but yes, there was a baby. No, they'd steal a baby, didn't they? Did they eat it as well or something? I'm sure. I don't know. Yes, I definitely felt shades of Labyrinth and Time Bandits. Two films I don't like. Two films I don't like. Well, I can't say I don't like Time Bandits. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I can't say I don't like it. Right, where were we? Right, here we go. The latest episode. Ready for a sing-song? The latest episode also introduced new companion, Ruby Sunday, Millie Gibson. But it's another character that has generated frenzied intrigue among the show's fandom. Mrs. Flood, played by Anita Dobson, the wife, so she's Lady May, isn't she? She's the wife of Sir Brian May, so she's Lady May. Mrs. Flood, played by Anita Dobson, is introduced as Ruby's nosy next-door neighbour who gets particularly frustrated by the arrival of the TARDIS due to the fact it's obstructing the street. By the end of the episode, though, the TARDIS departs, leaving Mrs. Flood's fellow neighbour, Abdul Hemi Yeroham, pardon me, in shock. Oh, excuse me. I've just eaten a big bowl of trifle because it's Christmas, so that's... In a mid-credits scene, Dobson's character, unfazed, tells Abdul to stop making such a fuss. She then turns to the camera and says with a wink, "Never seen a TARDIS before." Okay. Fans immediately rushed to social media to share their reactions to the moment, with fan account at Bad Wolf Archives posting, "Now going to spend the next few months obsessing over who she is." Was it her that picked up the what was it? The tooth. Remember at the end of the last anniversary special, somebody picked up the tooth that contains the master, and they had red nail polish on. Did Mrs. Flood have red nail polish on? I wasn't paying attention. Anyway, where were we? So who could Mrs. Flood actually be? The main theory is that she has something to do with the master. Backing this up is the fact that the Doctor did not recognise Ms. Flood. She's Ms. Flood now. The Radio Times theorised that the TARDIS she previously saw could be one belonging to the Master. Meanwhile, others... What does the Master's TARDIS look like? It can look like anything, can't it, the Master's TARDIS, because his chameleon circuit presumably is not broken. Anyway, meanwhile, others believe the name Flood could be a nod to the name River Song. One excited fan wrote in capitals, "It has to be River, right? Possibly the Master, but like Ms. Flood, water and river." Ah! Shout. God, the internet. Love it. There's a contingent of viewers who think a younger version of Mrs. Flood, is it Miss or Ms? Mrs. Flood will be shown to meet Gatwa's doctor in a future episode, with one person theorising that perhaps the character is no one special at all. And there's Anita Dobson. If you're British, you'll know her as Angie Watts from EastEnders, the wife of Dirty Den. Whatever happened to her in EastEnders? I don't know, because I didn't watch it. I used to watch it way back in the early years, but not recently, not for a couple of decades at least. Anyway, Wingray says, sorry, it's not River. And Sci-Fi Quest says, Shooty's doctor seems to be the only one that obstructs a footpath. I thought that. What was it doing there? Just, he'll get a ticket or something, or the council will take it away the back of a low truck or whatever. As far as I remember, the doctor never did that before. No, I don't seem to remember. The TARDIS is usually out of the way, isn't it? Anyway, right. Because he don't care, you see. He doesn't care. Right. Where were we? I wonder if Mrs. Flood is actually anyone at all. Perhaps they just realised at the end that they hadn't used the word TARDIS yet and needed to slip it in somewhere for the new viewers, they shared on X Twitter. The BBC has revealed more details about the forthcoming series, which will start in May 2024. Don't think I'll be watching. New episodes will see the return of Yasmin Finney, who plays Rose, doesn't she? Rose Noble, isn't she? She don't want to use the word Temple. Because, Daddy Temple's a cook, not a cook as in a chef, C-U-C-K. And loves it. And Bonnie Langford as Mel, who will reprise their roles as Rose Noble and Mel Bush. Oh, that last name. Oh, right. Alongside Jinx Monsoon. Oh, God. Yeah, I'm not going to be watching it. As a character described as the Doctor's most powerful enemy yet. Meanwhile, Jonathan Groff will appear in a mysterious key role with Indira Varma, who may know from Game of Thrones and other stuff, playing the Duchess, and Lenny Rush playing Morris. Doctor Who airs on the BBC in the UK and Disney Plus globally. Oh, there we go. Any comments? No. But Sci-Fi Quest says, I'll only be watching for my channel. Oh, well. You never know. I might do. I'm not saying no, not saying never. Is that Mariah Carey? It is, isn't it? Singing away in the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Bless her. And Wingray says, I know it's a low bar, but I like this special more than any of the first season of 13. I stopped watching after that. Maybe I'll give it another go. Yeah, because it's there on the iPlayer, isn't it? So maybe I'll give it... Actually, I've recorded it. I set up my DVR thing down there. So maybe I'll give it another go. See if I can get further than 10 minutes. But it was annoying me. It was getting on my nerves. So I turned it off. I mean, the fact that Davina McCall were in it didn't help. At least, spoilers, at least she died. Not as good a death as she had in Dead Set, which were amazing. That's the zombie Big Brother series that Channel 4 did many years ago. She got turned into a zombie in that, but anyway. Sci-Fi Quest says, all I want for Christmas is Ruby Sunday. Oh, dear. Right, so there we go. So, who is Mrs. Flood? Don't know. What did it say? Unexpected TARDIS revelation. I mean, yeah, she knew what a TARDIS was. Is that the revelation? I expect it saying something about the TARDIS itself, that there was something new we'd learned about it. I don't know, it had a jacuzzi in or something, or a high diving board or something. I don't know. Anyway, right. So, what's next? There we go. Right. This is from the Daily Mirror, I think. Where is it? Is it? Oh, no, it's from OK. Why do I think of the Daily Mirror? Probably the red. This is from OK magazine. Sarah Tulloch and Lucretia Monroe. I bet she's gorgeous as well. Or it's a fella. Don't know. I'm guessing Lucretia Monroe. It could be trans. Like Jinx Monsoon, innit? Anyway, Doctor Who star Millie Gibson eyebrow scar explained as she says she looks like thug. Millie Gibson, who is set to become a household name as she takes on the role of Doctor Who's latest assistant, they're not called companions anymore, alongside Ncuti Gatwa, has a very distinctive scar. The bloody thing's always following you around, aren't they? Following in the coveted footsteps of Billie Piper, Jenna Coleman, and Catherine Tate to play Doctor Who's latest assistant, Millie Gibson certainly has a lot to live up to. Hang on. Winker says, I thought the same thing. I thought the article was going to be about the TARDIS set. Yeah, I thought there were going to be something new about the TARDIS. Could she be a Time Lord? Her name, Ms. Flood, does seem kind of like a choice one would pick. Yeah, I don't know. We will see. Maybe she's related to the from Halo when all the creatures come. No, she has the Jack O'Neill eyebrow. Yes, that's it. I was wondering when I saw it. I thought, I thought she'd done it herself. I thought it was one of these fashion things because you see it a lot, don't you? But it's apparently it's not. I haven't read the article, but I did scan down just to see what you said. That bit there. Well, where were we? And while her acting ability has landed her the role alongside Ncuti Gatwa, it seems she has attracted attention for a completely different reason: the scar on her eyebrow. The 19-year-old star, who had appeared in Coronation Street, played the troubled Kelly Nealon in 2019, says she has a very simple explanation. In a recent interview, she said, "It's a scar. I fell down the stairs as a baby and the hair's just never grown back, but everyone thinks I've done it myself." She further told The Sun, "In all my baby pictures, I look like a right thug." And there she is with Ncuti Gatwa. Covering, you can just make out there the little gap in her eyebrow there. Oh, excuse me. Meanwhile, before joining the popular sci-fi drama, Millie was a familiar face on the streets of Weatherfield, just in Coronation Street, playing Kelly in the ITV soap. She's been involved in a couple of jaw-dropping plot twists. That's hadn't seen Coronation Street for many years, such as her character coping with her mum passing away from cancer, getting taken hostage, and falsely accused of murder. Just a day in Weatherfield, then. Sci-fi Quest says, I thought all the attention was because she looked nice and has a rack. I thought that. I've got to admit, my eyes were drawn to certain aspects. Anyway, I forgot what I want now. She confessed, before I went into Coronation Street, I was like, well, how hard can it be? They said that in Top Gear, they used to, back in the olden days. But it's really hard. I mean, they work so quickly. There was one point when Kelly's storyline was so big, we were doing 10 scenes a day. That's a lot of dialogue, a lot of turning on the tears in 2 seconds. Anyway, there she is again. She's got the scar. She's got another one there. Look, I've just noticed another on her other eyebrow. Never noticed that unless that's just something else. I don't know. She's very pretty, I must admit. That's one thing they do in Doctor Who, that generally find him really pretty assistants, don't they? Sorry, companions, the female ones. Anyway, however, leaving the famous cobbles left her parents feeling a little puzzled, a bit puzzled even. In their eyes, she was letting go of a very safe job. Yeah, it's steady work, isn't it? Sci-Fi Quest says, I've been re-watching Top Gear on iPlayer. Hope the proper Top Gear, not the new rubbish with Paddy McGuinness and all them. Proper Top Gear with Clarkson and May and Hammond. Who I mentioned today, didn't I, Win Grace? I mentioned Richard Hammond today when they were playing the Grey Hill incident when I got abducted by aliens. I went to hide. Well, I got into a car in the game, and for some reason, the interior of the car was massive. I says it must be like Richard Hammond, this little tiny person. Anyway, what's still about Coronation Street for? We're supposed to be talking about Doctor Who, but there she is again. Bit of a fake smile. Sorry, Millie, that doesn't work. She's got a tattoo look. So she's a thug. Paired with her good looks and terrific personality, I can see her being cast in a blockbuster quicker than you can say TARDIS. said somebody. Who said that? I have no idea. Oh, Nick Eade, Brandon culture expert. Millie has been the talk of the town since she was offered the role in Doctor Who last October. The talk of the town. What is this, 1930s New York? Been the talk of the town. She looks up to Killing Eve's Jodie Comer, another actor's work, who's in Star Wars. She played the mother of Rey, didn't she, Jodie Comer? That's her inspiration, and she's amazing at accents, Jodie Comer, and dreams of emulating her success on Lorraine, a British morning talk show thing with Lorraine Kelly. Millie confessed, I love Jodie Comer. I'm obsessed with Jodie Comer. All of her work is just incredible, and her career path is just very idealistic for me, blah, blah, blah. Oh, look, this article was crafted with the help of an AI engine, which speeds up OK's editorial research. Unbelievable. Anyway, where were we? Just talking sci-fi quest. No, Clarkson, May, Hammond are fun to watch. Yes, they are. The others aren't. The new lot. It's all connected. Yes, I've said something. I forgot what I said. Talk of the town with her name on everyone's lips. Yes. Stop the presses. Newspapers spinning towards the screen. Millie Gibson cast as Doctor Who companion. And all that. Right, anyway, so there we go. So the original point of the article, we're explaining her scar, which she had as a baby. She fell down the stairs as a baby because obviously he's got bad parents. I can't say anything. Aidan fell down the stairs as a baby. I also dropped him on his head. That's by the by. Only once, but anyway, and not from a great height. Right, next. What's next? Oh, we're still on Doctor Who. There we go. This is from Dexerto. Is that how you pronounce it? Sounds like a baddie company from like Assassin's Creed or something like that, doesn't it? Anyway. And the author is Leon Miller. Does Disney own Doctor Who? And there's Shooty and Millie Gibson again as Ruby Sunday with the interior, the oddly brightly lit. I don't know how to say it without sounding, the R word. Up until now, all the doctors have been white, haven't they? And the interior of the TARDIS has generally been quite dimly lit, we'll put it. So, right, just work it out from there. Work it out from there. Anyway. Ingrid says they needed AI to research her scar. Yes, exactly. Anyway, right. Much has been made about Disney acquiring the rights to Doctor Who. So what's the deal? Does Disney own the franchise now? Technically, no, but yeah. Sci-Fi Quest says, I watched an Amelia Clark movie a few days ago. Can't remember the title. Only Amelia. Yeah, she kind of does that. I can't think of any film she's been in. She was in Terminator Genesis. She was in Solo, Star Wars story. And I saw her in like a horror film. I think it was a horror film, or like a supernatural, and I can't remember what it was called. But it was all right. I think she took her top off at some point, which makes all the point. Amelia had tattoos on her fingers, so I looked it up. Amelia gets a tat for every role she has. Was she mental? She must be. Women should only be allowed a little tattoo of a flower just there, and that's it. That's the only ones that are allowed. But anyway. Right, the BBC and Disney confirmed they were entering a Doctor Who-centric distribution partnership in October 2022. Not only does this deal entail an unspecified contribution to the show's production budget, i.e. probably all of it, but it also includes considerable marketing spend as well. In return, Disney gets to add new Doctor Who content to its Disney Plus platform globally, with two notable exceptions. But does paying for Doctor Who grant Disney ownership over the show itself? Read on to find out. Does Disney own Doctor Who? No, Disney doesn't own Doctor Who, technically. The BBC does, technically. The House of Mouse simply owns the streaming rights to the long-running sci-fi series everywhere outside the UK and Ireland. There's owning and owning, isn't there? Anyway, these streaming rights first came into effect with the 3 Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials, which I quite liked, which aired in November to December 2023. The Doctor Who Christmas special likewise made its international debut on Disney Plus weeks after the streamer seemingly spoiled its title and release date. Wingress says they don't own. You can't see me. Can you see my fingers there? Don't own Doctor Who, but they made an executive decision to add a scene to this first episode. Did they? See, I didn't know this. So close enough. I didn't know that. So what was this scene that Disney added? Spill the beans, because I haven't seen anything about this. Wingrace, you've got to start doing a live news stream, or just coming on here live and with all your research and stuff ready to throw up on the screen, and I can just go and sit in the corner, out of the way. That's what should happen. Sci-Fi Quest says Disney does not seem to have had a large influence. It felt that way for the church on Ruby Road. Any road. Yeah, I think Disney's calling the shots. How else could they get away with having a Avengers Tower style thing? Well, it wants that style, but it was exactly the same, wasn't it? In the anniversary specials. Supposedly, the scenes of the Doctor early in the episode were added because Disney was worried it wouldn't work if the Doctor didn't show up for the first 20 minutes. Oh, right, okay. I know he appeared straight away, didn't he? After the baby was left in the freezing snow, luckily somebody came to the door straight away. Another bit that got me mad. Left in the snow at the beginning, and this mysterious person ran away, presumably Ruby's mother. And then the Doctor appeared, didn't he? So is it that? Did they just add his running into the shot sort of thing? And him basically following Ruby through her life. Anyway, it's kind of like the opposite, innit, of the Matt Smith Doctor and I forgot her name now, Amy Pond. Matt Smith sort of like met Amy Pond as a young girl, and then she waited for him for years, didn't she? And he never came back, and then he finally came back after when she were all grown up. And this one's like the other way around now. He saw her being dropped off as a baby, and then just keeps following her around without her knowing. Anyway, where were we? The Disney BBC deal also includes Doctor Who Series 14. Which will premiere, but it's not. There we go. Which will premiere in May 2024 and run for 8 episodes. Showrunner, is that all? Showrunner Russell T Davies has even hinted that Series 14 will drop as Season 1. Yes, they're calling it Season 1. A move interpreted by longtime fans as a concession to Disney Plus newcomers. Well, there is that. Also, it's essentially a reboot, isn't it? It's currently unclear how many years the deal will last. However, it reportedly covers Doctor Who series 15 to 17 or seasons 2 to 4 too. So, in short, whatever Disney picked up as part of the tab for It's Gonna Screen. Yeah, well said, and they picked up part of the tab, maybe most of the tab. It'll be akin, I think, to the deal that Paramount made with Netflix. Not Paramount, CBS made with Netflix. Or, what is it? Secret Hideout. For Star Trek Discovery, Netflix essentially paid for the first 3 seasons of Star Trek Discovery, didn't they? And then realised how bad it was, and as soon as that contract had run its course, they dropped it straight away, didn't they? Anyway, so that could happen with this, depending how this series goes and how Shooty does. But he doesn't know if he's doing more than 2 seasons, does he? Just Shooty. Right, anyway, what Doctor Who content isn't included in the Disney deal? At this point, you're probably wondering if there's any Doctor Who content not covered by the Disney deal. The answer is yes, and quite a lot, as it happens. Anything paid for solely by the BBC and by extension the British taxpayer, well, the license payers. I know some people call it a tax, but it didn't really, well, kind of is, but isn't at the same time. Anyway. According to Netflix, Rebel Moon is the #1 in the top 10 film on Netflix in the UK. How do they work that out? Well, they know the numbers, don't they? Netflix know the numbers, how many have watched it. And it's good. I like Rebel Moon. So there. Yes, literally. Yes, they're paying for literally everything. What are you up to? You be naughty. You are. Don't shake your head at me, princess. Where were we? This includes over 800 Doctor Who episodes from the show's classic and revival era runs, right up to the 60th anniversary specials. Of course, you can watch them on the BBC iPlayer. If you use a VPN, say you're from the UK, and say you have a TV license. They don't check, I don't think. You can watch them all then. Apart from the very first episode, that's not on there. Unless that's changed, I haven't checked. Spin-offs such as Torchwood, The Sarah Jane Adventures, and Tales of the TARDIS, and Class, don't forget Class, everybody forgets about Class, are also off limits, along with Doctor Who Confidential and similar behind-the-scenes shows and specials. To watch all of the above material, you'll need access to iPlayer's new Whoniverse portal, UK and Ireland, or another subscription or video-on-demand service such as BritBox Rest of the World. Blah, blah, blah. Right. So there we go. So they're trying to make out that Disney doesn't own Doctor Who, but it kind of does now. Technically, Sony owns Doctor Who now, doesn't it? I mean, really, the BBC owns it, but they've handed over control to Bad Wolf Productions, which is owned by Sony. So the BBC is just sort of like there as as like a silent partner, I suppose, isn't it? Wingrace says Disney Plus only has 4 Doctor Who things, the 4 specials. Oh, as I said, use a VPN and get on the iPlayer, BBC iPlayer. All the rest of the new Who is still on Max here. All right, from the 2005 onwards, from Eccleston onwards. Sci-Fi Quest says, ChatGPT, rewrite my Star Wars script in 300 Dune, Warhammer, Lord of the Rings style. Result, Rebel Moon. Behave yourself. Behave yourself. It's not that bad. It's no worse than other stuff we've seen. It's fine. It'll do. It's okay and it's entertaining. Well, I found it entertaining. I watched it all the way through. I didn't turn it off after 10 bloody minutes, did I? No, I didn't. Anyway. From Eccleston to Jodie's regeneration is Max. Classic Who is on Pluto. All right. And maybe somewhere else. And the 4 specials are Disney. Also, there are ways to watch it. There are ways to watch. Classic Doctor Who. Watch Terror of the Zygons. That's my favourite. My all-time favourite. Right, let's move on. I think we're moving on to Lord of the Rings now. Moving away from Doctor Who. Right, off we go. Here we go. So from Looper, Jaron Pack. Is that a real name? Is that an AI name? Or is it an alien name? Don't know. So much slow motion. I have to keep checking my broadband connection. Behave. Yes, there was a lot of slow motion. But that's his calling card, isn't it? That's, it'd be same if you were watching, like, I don't know, a Michael Bay film. If Michael Bay directed it, it'd just be people walking away from explosions all through the film. Just messing, mate. I know. I'm not going to kick off. If you don't like it, fair enough. I have nothing against that. It's fine. By the way, have you noticed? I've hurt my finger. I've got a plaster on my finger. Cut my finger open, closing the freezer. You know the drawers on the freezer? I've got something out of there, and I'm closing it, and the drawer handle part decided to snap and slice my finger. See, I'm injured. I'm doing this injured. Right, Looper, Jaron Pack. Cool name. I bet he works for Sauron. Rings of Power Season 2 rumour casts an angelic Sauron. And there he is. Windgrace says, I haven't had a chance to watch Rebel Moon yet. It's fine. I liked it. And so did Retro Nerd Girl. Go and subscribe to Retro Nerd Girl's channel on YouTube. She liked it as well. So I'm not the only one. Right, Lord of the Rings of Power, will grow its cast and by extension its story by leaps and bounds in Season 2. I know a lot of people don't like Rings of Power. I can't say I like it as well. It's got problems, but I didn't hate it. That's the weird thing. I got through the series. Parts of it were laughably bad. Some parts of it, but I thought were okay. But it were all right. I can't say. That's all I can say. It was, whatever. But I can't say I hated it, as some people do. Anyway, the Lord of the Rings of Power, will grow its cast and by extension its story by leaps and bounds in Season 2. Multiple additional casting announcements have already made the news cycle, with the most recent one which came in 2023, including Kieran Hines. Is that how you pronounce it? I think it is Kieran Hines. From Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, where he played Dumbledore's brother, didn't he? While Amazon Studios has stayed mum regarding the show since that time, fan site Fellowship of the Fans recently added to the beefy Season 2 actor list with a rumoured casting of its own. Have I got some coffee? Oh, I have got some coffee, isn't it? Oh, that's gone cold. Oh, God. Sci-Fi Quest says, Rings of Power Season 2, where they cast an Indian as an angelic original form Sauron. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Lol, you sound like me. You're only allowed to love or hate. There is no me. Yeah, this is it. Sometimes things are just okay. But, got to get those views up. So you've got to get on your soapbox and get angry, but I can't. So I've got to be honest. Where were we? On Christmas Eve, the site, which is known as a source of relatively accurate scoops for all things Middle-earth, I always wonder why is the E in Middle-earth never capitalised? I don't understand that. Anyway, shared exclusive Gavi Singh Cheera, probably mispronouncing all of that wrong, but maybe apart from the Sing part, will play Sauron in Lord of the Rings of Power Season 2. Do or do not. There is no try. Oh dear. Technically speaking, the fact that Cheera is in the show, I'd say Cheera, or maybe Shearer, I don't know, is in the show is old news, as his casting was announced at the end of 2022. However, the suggestion that he's playing the titular villain, not the titular villain. What are you talking about? It's not called Lord of the Rings Sauron, is it? Is playing the villain Sauron is news indeed. The scoop also said he will play the original form version of the character, which is meant to be angelic and ethereal, per sources. Well, yeah, apparently, because that were a Peter Jackson thing that put him in all the armor and stuff at the beginning. I've not read Lord of the Rings. I have got it, pointing to where it is. I have got it. I don't like it. I don't like the books. I'm sorry. I haven't got very far into them. I find his prose hard work. So anyway, but apparently Sauron, wasn't in physical form or something like that, and Peter Jackson shoved him in armor to give the baddie a form for him to fight against. Apparently, I don't know. Is he playing the ring? He must be. Yes, he must be playing the ring. But kind of is, I suppose, because he puts all of his malice and stuff into the ring, doesn't he? Anyway, Fellowship of Fans has floated the concept of the show splitting its Sauron persona into two characters in Season 2, more than once now, played by two different actors. It was solely played by Charlie Vickers in Season 1. While these earlier instances were vague, the latest rumour directly links Cheera to the show's angelic iteration of Sauron. The Rings of Power spent season 1 chasing the mystery box of Sauron's identity, but everybody knew. By the end, it was pretty clear. By the beginning, apparently, it was pretty clear that Charlie Vickers Halbrand, because the rumours were out, before it even aired, weren't they? Ingrid says technically he would be the titular person if he's the Lord. I suppose so. Yes, I suppose Lord of the Rings. Yes, I suppose it would be. But it doesn't say his name, does it? But yes, I suppose so. Yes. Wingrace, set him miss straight. Again. Mate. Anyway. By the end, it was pretty clear that Charlie Vickers Halbrand was the rising villain in disguise, which was fun. It didn't make sense. But anyway. But after masquerading for 8 hours of screen time as the mortal human Halbrand of the Southlands, sounds like a name of a band, doesn't it? It was hard to, like in 80s. It was hard to imagine Vickers' character making a hard pivot to suddenly play a convincing. I'm thinking of Bruce Hornsby in The Range or something like that. Making a hard pivot to suddenly play a convincing, overpowered spiritual warlord. He just shouted and his eyes went funny, didn't they? The saving grace here is that Sauron shapeshifts. In fact, in Tolkien's source material, he takes on many different forms. Sorry, itch. Sure, I've got fleas. He spends time as the shadowy necromancer in the lead up to the Lord of the Rings and is variously seen as a terrifying figure or a beautiful one, depending on where you are in the story. There's even a duel in the Silmarillion where he dons the appearance of a wolf serpent monster and bat-shaped vampire along with his normal humanoid form. By the time of Frodo's quest, Sauron is generally hidden, and his primary attribute is his all-consuming eye. But I don't think that's even in the book, is it? That's a Peter Jackson thing as well. I think it's like described, but never said. His eye is there on top of the tower. It's like more obtuse, I suppose. Sci-fi Quest says it's like casting a Latino Snow White, like they will ever do that. She's half Polish, so she's only half Latino. I forgot what I want. By the time I've said that bit, but even then, at one point, Gollum describes seeing his hand, so the guy still has a body of some kind. Sauron clearly isn't meant to be portrayed as one visual image in Tolkien's writings, so the option not to recast but to add a cast member to help portray the villain is a perfect solution. It allows Vickers to continue acting out the Halbrand moments. Is it? I thought he was not in it. Is he still in it? I thought he'd gone. Or was it somebody else that's gone? Can't remember. While any more book-accurate angelic Sauron personifications can come from Cheera if the rumour is true. There's Halbrand. One of the funniest things about the Rings of Power, apart from most of it, no, I didn't hate it, but it was pretty stupid in places, has been the conversations about hair. But when the show's first promotional images came out, the obvious point of contention came from the Dwarven princesses. From Dwarven Princess Disa's lack of facial hair, even though she did sport some rather long sideburns. Yep. Many of the elvish characters, is it elvish or elven? I don't know. When they say elvish, I always think of that, think of that, oh, never mind. There was a comedy sketch once where the Takumas, they were all there in, what is it, dressed like elves, and then there was somebody dressed like Elvis, and they'd misheard what they were to good dressed as. Anyway, many of the elvish characters also deviated from the long-haired elven concept that Peter Jackson's adaptations embedded so firmly in the minds of Middle-earth fans. The source material itself is famously light on character descriptions. Viggo Mortensen's Aragorn, for example, is depicted with a beard. They kind of, he had, so not a beard, but he had stubble and that, didn't he? However, in the book, The Nature of Middle-earth, Tolkien is quoted as saying, I myself imagined Aragorn, Denethor, Imrahil, Boromir, Faramir as beardless, attributing this to their lingering elvish heritage. Some of the hair-related details of Amazon Studios series have been a flashpoint for debate already, and the last part of Fellowship of Fans' latest Sauron casting leak adds fuel to the fire by saying, that's exclusive, I don't know, in flashback scenes, original form Sauron Gavi Singh will have long hair. In present-day scenes in Eregion, he apparently has shorter hair. In the group's June leak, they also reference this long-locked element, stating this character has been described as angelic and beautiful in his design, with a black and gold costume colour palette and long black hair. If the holiday rumours are true, it looks like Season 2 is going to have a lot to say about Sauron's character evolution as the showrunners build up a villain worthy of Mordor. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Where are we? Sci-Fi Quest says, I thought Amazon told them to fix Lord of Rings of Power, not make it worse. We'll see. We will see. If they want to be accurate, they shouldn't wear makeup. They should be covered in mud, poop, and sores at all times as well. Yeah, they should appear like in, I don't know, some characters in Monty Python and the Holy Grail and stuff like that. You know? Agreed, Windgrace, says Sci-Fi Quest. Yes. Only nobles would be clean. Not necessarily. They'll be cleaner. Anyway, sticking with behave, you. Sticking with Rings of Power, A Lord of the Rings, whatever. This is from the Mail Online, hence all the adverts. Brian Gallagher. Amazon and the Tolkien Estate win Lord of the Rings lawsuit. Of course, they do, because it's like $1 trillion corporation over an author who claimed they stole Rings of Power TV series from his book. A little-known author's massive $250 million lawsuit against Amazon and the Tolkien Estate has failed. Surprise, surprise. Except John Noble. He was pretty dirty looking with that tomato. Yes, he was. The great John Noble. Yes. Sing for me. As he eats his tomatoes. His cherry tomatoes. Anyway, author Demetrius Polychron. Is that a real name? I know it might be Greek, but, you know, it still sounds a bit suspect, doesn't it? Filed a $250 million lawsuit against Amazon over their Prime Video streaming service series, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Should I sue the BBC for that Doctor Who episode? No. Polychron, with an E on the end this time, claims that the streaming service stole the idea for the series from his 2017 fan fiction book, The Fellowship of the King. A California judge ruled not only for both Amazon and the Tolkien Estate, but ordered Polychron to pay their $134,000 legal fees also. I tell you. So he's probably gone and killed himself now or something. District Court of California Judge Stephen V. Wilson threw out both lawsuits that Polychron had brought forth. Hopefully, the firm of solicitors he went with one of these no-win, no-fee things, hopefully. But it's maybe still got to find the 134 grand. Holy crap, that's a solid name. It in half, yes. Demetrius Polychron. This sounds like a Transformers character. The multiverse will collapse if we can't stabilize the Polychron. Yes. Yes. The Polychron is Demetrius-ating or something. I don't know. If only the Tolkien Estate respected Lord of the Rings themselves. Yes, the current Tolkien Estate, because after Christopher Tolkien passed away, it all went to hell, didn't it? Because Christopher Tolkien, you know, respected his father's creation, didn't he? But you know, who were in it now, the How does Gary describe them? Trust fund. They're all trust fund relatives now, aren't they? That's in the Tolkien estate. Don't give them monkeys. They just want the money. A bit like Rod Roddenberry. That's how I think about him. Rod Roddenberry. Anyway, don't know where I want now. The author registered his fan fiction sequel book, The Fellowship of the Ring, in 2017, which he claimed was the pitch-perfect sequel to The Lord of the Rings. He filed the lawsuit in April against both Amazon and the Tolkien Estate, which controls the work of late Lord of the Rings author J.R.R. Tolkien. The lawsuit claimed both Amazon and the Tolkien Estate infringed on his copyright, of his fan fiction book. Oh dear. I mean, you could say, infringe the copyright of, the story, not obviously not the characters or names and stuff like that. Anyway, Wilson not only threw out both lawsuits and ordered Polychron to pay Amazon and the Tolkien Estate's legal fees, but he also prevented him from selling the Fellowship of the King. The judge filed a permanent injunction that prevented Polychron from ever distributing any further copies of the Fellowship of the King. It also prevented him from selling any copies of his planned sequels or any other derivative works of author J.R.R. Tolkien. What is selling them? How can you sell fan fiction? I suppose you could if you wanted to, I suppose, but, not legally, can you? Anyway. Where are we? Wingrace says, Rod, as in Rod Roddenberry, I've never watched Star Trek Roddenberry. Yeah. Sci-Fi Quest is all about how many zeros are on the check. Yes, it is. Yep. Don't get me started about Rod Roddenberry. Eugene. Anyway, where were we? The author has also been ordered to destroy all physical and electronic copies of the Fellowship of the King and file a declaration under penalty of perjury that he has complied with all of the court's requests. He's going to be flogged in the city square if he doesn't, comply. Do a walk of shame. Shame. Strip him naked and throw shit at him. The judge also turned down Polychron's request to have Amazon and the Tolkien Estate pay for his legal fees. Not as if, they haven't got deep pockets, is it? Poor lad. Tell you that's the little fella. Little fella always loses. Same with what's his face? I've forgotten his name now. Him that essentially came up with the story for Star Trek Discovery in his game. That Egyptian kid. Can't remember his name, but he tried suing, didn't he? Don't go up against, billion-dollar corporations. You'll never win. This is an important success for the Tolkien Estate. I hope they're proud. Which will not permit unauthorized authors and publishers to monetize J.R. Tolkien's much-loved works in this way, said Stephen Mayer, the Tolkien Estate's UK solicitor. Yeah, well, they'll put him in a bloody crow's cage or whatever as well, won't they? As an example. That's what they'll do. Tolkien's work won't enter public domain until January 1st, 2044, which is 95 years after his first work was published. The Rings of Power made headlines in 2017 when Amazon obtained the TV rights to Tolkien's work for an astonishing $250 million. The deal was said to be for over $1 billion, which included production costs for the sprawling first season. I won't say it was sprawling. It wasn't that many episodes, was it? Only eight episodes. It's not sprawling. The show was renewed for a second season, which is believed to return in 2024, though no season 2 premiere date was given. I think there's supposed to be a trailer coming soon, I think. Wingrace says, seems like this worked out great. Yeah, for them. Anas, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Savicus, oh yes, the Egyptian chap. Yes, sorry, yes. Anas, is it Anas? I can't remember. Yes, that's the fella that did the game, didn't he? That had the tardigrade in and all that. and characters that looked exactly like the characters that they cast in Star Trek Discovery. Sci-Fi Quest says that's like Paramount suing Lucasfilm for having his star in the franchise title. Pretty much. Pretty much. They should have done. They probably tried. Because they do, don't they, sometimes. I used to work for a magazine called UFO Data Magazine, and they were always getting letters off the owner of the American UFO magazine, Bill Burns, who you may have seen in what they call it, Ancient Aliens. Bill Burns. Well, he's very litigious. He's always sending out, having his lawyer sending out letters saying you're not allowed to use the word UFO in any print magazine. They just ignored him, threw away the letters. They never got sued. Anyway, so there we go. What was this about? I've forgotten. Oh, yes, him getting sued and trying to sue them and losing because little fella with his fan fiction. He shouldn't have asked for $250 million, should he? Really? Oh dear. Anyway, maybe he should have just said, "Look, just put my name on then. Just put my name in the credits as a, in the story by so and so, screenplay by." I'd go for that. I'd say, just don't make me pay $134,000. Can I just have my name in the credits, please? And they'd say no because you've lost. So okay, then I'll go and kill myself, which is probably will. Sorry. I would think if you do fan fiction, they would be entitled to take the ideas. It's crappy, but it seems like it will be legal. Pretty much. If you're making it publicly available, there's nothing you can do about it, is there? Like on my website, mercuryrapids.co.uk, I've got some scripts and script treatments that I've put up. So they're publicly available. So if like whoever owns those, I think like Space 1999 and my Doctor Who one and other stuff I've done. So if whoever owns those properties, use those ideas, there'd be nothing I could do about it because they're out in the public domain, aren't they? Even though I do put copyright Stephen Johnson, don't mean anything, does it? Because they own the property. I suppose you could argue that they've stolen the story, the plot and all that, but that's different, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. What's next? Star Wars is next. Star Wars, the Book of Boba Fett star on season 2. No word yet. I bet you say yet as well because it's from New Zealand, isn't it? Even Tamara Morrison doesn't know what the future holds for the series. No more yet. He's no good to me, did. Anyway. Star Wars, the Book of Boba Fett. Yes, I say Boba. I don't say Boba. Hang on. Sci-Fi Quest says, but a Wingrace, some of the fan fiction is better than what we get these days from the IP owners. Star Trek and Star Wars, for example. Yes, 100% agree. Yes, it is. I'd say more than some. I'd say most of the fan fiction is better than what we get, from the those that own the rights to the property. I mean, it gets me quite cross sometimes. You have these huge corporations buying up these properties, or buying up the rights to these properties, and then just doing what they want to do with it, and it gets on my nerves. It annoys me because they own it. They think they can they can legally just do whatever they want to the characters, the beloved characters, and to hell with the fans. Anyway, Star Wars: The Book of Boba Fett was billed as a limited series ahead of its debut on Disney Plus back in 2021, and it was bloody awful. Though the inherent potential of a series focusing on the beloved bounty hunter has left audiences wondering if we could get more of the project, and even star Tamara Morrison admits he still hasn't heard updates about such an opportunity. Wingrace says, if a fan is over 34 years old, they don't give a crap. Oh, that's very specific age. But okay. Where were we? I forgot where I went now. Even if we don't get officially get another season of adventures focusing on the iconic character, we likely haven't seen the last of Boba Fett in live action. As a movie from Dave Filoni is in the works that will unfold in the New Republic and serve as a crossover between The Mandalorian, Star Wars Ahsoka, and the Book of Boba Fett. If it happens. All right, 1834 is the key demographic. All right. I see where you're going now. Yes, demographics. Yes, that's all they care about in it. Yes, that's all they care about. The demographics, and charts and graphs and and all that shite. Sci-fi question. It's the fans' fault. It's the fans' fault. Films. Stop alliterating. It's the fans' fault. Films and shows suck so bad. Bloody hellfire. That's a tongue twister, sci-fi quest. It's the fans' fault. Films and shows suck so bad. Say that 5 times quickly. Yes, it is. It's our fault. It's not their fault. It's our brains that are at fault. No word yet, says Morrison. No word yet. I don't even know if there's going to be a season 2. Some more Australian than New Zealand. Never mind. I'm more like Mick Taylor from Wolf Creek. No word yet. I don't even know if there's going to be a season 2, Morrison shared with News Hub. I don't know what's going on. We're coming out of this downtime period, so I think everyone is settling back in, and it all goes back to budgets and what they want to do and how much everything costs. Didn't he appear in? Were he in Ahsoka? Was it Ahsoka he were in, or were he in? Or were it Kenobi? He played like a down and out clone trooper, did he? Begging on the streets. Was that in Kenobi or was that in Ahsoka? I can't remember. Anyway. I really don't know. Judging by the fans I've met, they all want a season 2 of Boba Fett. They've been polite to Mary. You've said to them, you want to see a season 2 of Boba Fett? And they've gone, yeah. Sign the picture. Thank you. And scurried off. But I don't know what's going to happen. Morrison first revived Fett in season 2 of The Mandalorian, continuing the journey that many fans assumed had ended back in 1983 with Star Wars Return of the Jedi, episode 6, Return of the Jedi. The Book of Boba Fett actually began way back in 1978, didn't it, with the Star Wars Holiday Special. That's when it started, I suppose. Yeah, but it did end, didn't it? Sorry. The Book of Boba Fett filled in the gaps of what the character had been up to since his apparent demise, while also exploring the aftermath of his run-in with Din Djarin. Despite being the titular character, one issue, at least his name's in there, one issue fans took with the series is how the project felt much more like an ensemble experience due to appearances by Ahsoka Tano, Din Djarin, and even Luke Skywalker. I can't really remember. Was Ahsoka in Book of Boba Fett? I can't remember. Reaction to the series. Oh, yes, of course she was. There's the 2 episodes, weren't there, that were had hardly anything to do with Boba Fett, weren't there? She were in that, yes. Reactions to the series were a bit mixed, even with the built-in appeal of Boba Fett, with Rotten Tomatoes calculating 66% positive reviews from critics and only 53% positive among audiences. Fans would understandably be cautiously optimistic about getting another season, as it could serve as a more fulfilling experience for those hoping to see a figure more reminiscent of the ruthless bounty hunter seen in the original trilogy that made him a goodie. Though if a season 2 is more in the spirit of the first episodes, it could distance the character even further from what audiences might expect to see. Yeah, they turned him into a goodie. They turned him into a wimp who just did what he was told, did what, I forgot her name, Ming Na Wen, did what she told him to do. Or, the moped gang. It basically did what they told him to do as well. It was rubbish. Anyway. Yes, she was in the episode. Yes, she was, yes. Yes. Cost of living crisis has nothing to do with movie ratings, neither, apparently. $170+ million movies. No one goes to see it because they are straight white men. Yeah. Yes, that's what's happening. Because we're all racists and homophobes and other phobes and ists. That's why we're not going to see these films, because we're just plebs, basically. Oh, that's it, isn't it? Right, okay. Yeah, right. Fair enough. So there's no news about Boba Fett season 2, but there ain't going to be one. I didn't even think about a Boba Fett season 2. I didn't even know if it were in the offing. Apparently not. Is there a way I can move this and I'll centralise it? Is there a way to do it? I don't know. It's getting on my nerves. Settings. Have a look. Let's have a look. See if there's anything in here. Layouts. See what happens there. Bet that's made it go wrong. No, it hasn't made any difference. What's that do? Oh, that goes full screen, doesn't it? So I'm just faffing with things. Just talk amongst yourselves. Yes, that does that. Exit full screen. Sorry about that. Go here. That line over there and the right hand side of the screen, it's annoying me. There ain't a way to centralise it, I don't think. Not that I can see. Never mind. I suppose I could. Where can I put this? Can I do it? Will that do it? Right. Sorted. Right. We're all bigots, apparently, because we think the shows and movies are crap. Yes, that's what they always say. We're either bigots or we just don't understand. What software are you using? StreamYards. That's what I'm using. But I've sussed it now. I've sussed it with all right now. Even I think I've shrunk a little bit, but never mind. Can I adjust that? I'll leave it for now. I'll faff with it off air. Right. So, my ear's itching. Right. What's next? Yes, Boba Fett season 2. I didn't even know there were going to be one. I don't think anybody else thought there were going to be one. Only Tamara Morrison thinks there might be one. But he's saying no word yet. And I don't think he'll ever get word, because I don't think it's happening. Anyway, right. So, what's next? What Christopher Nolan, from Screen Rant, Kai Young, what Christopher Nolan really said about Zack Snyder. Christopher Nolan has expressed his praise for Zack Snyder on several occasions, but some of his words have recently caused a stir among audiences. And there's Sophia Butella from Rebel Moon, and there's Cillian Murphy from Oppenheimer. Right, acclaimed filmmaker Christopher Nolan's recent comments regarding Zack Snyder have caused a stir. Both Christopher Nolan and Zack Snyder, excuse me. Oh, crikey. Sorry, Sci-Fi Quest. Does anyone care if there's a season 2? No. Apart from Tamara Morrison, because he's asking the fans, presumably at conventions. They're all saying, yeah, we want a season 2, because they've just been polite. And he's asking them before he signed his autograph on the 6x4s or whatever they are. Wingris says, I haven't watched any Star Wars shows since, I guess, Kenobi. Haven't you watched Ahsoka? Kenobi was rubbish as well. It was awful. And Ahsoka, it was meh. Virgin on bad. They're just disappointing, aren't they, more than anything? Which makes it sad. They always say it hurts more to be disappointed in somebody than to be angry at them. So that's what it is most of the time. For me, anyway. Maybe, no Ahsoka. No Mando. No last season of Mando. He didn't miss out with last season of Mando. Really? Andor were good. Maybe I'll binge them all one day. And Savagway says, it's a convention, of course. They want a season 2. They want to recreate new cosplay. I'd be there. I've got my Star Wars cosplay. Got me TIE fighter pilot / bounty hunter. Those days are behind me, anyway. And me rebel fighter chap with me desert gear and all that. Anyway. Wingrace says, I hate Boba's new costume, to be honest. It looks, I don't know, it doesn't look right, does it? It when he first got it in Mandalorian season 2, when he first got it off what they call him, Cobb Vanth, Timothy Oliphant. When he first got it off him, it actually looked quite good because it were all done in and all the paint and stuff were chipped off and it were all dinted and all that, and it looked quite cool, didn't it? But then next time we saw him, he'd fixed it and repainted it, and it looked cheap and fake. So anyway, Sci-Fi says, I need a good 3D printer. Always wanted to create my own Revan outfit. I wouldn't know where to start with a 3D printer. I can hardly work my normal printer up here. It's run out of ink, but it's going. It's good. I've got some more ink cartridges down here. I just can't be bothered replacing them. I'm going to wait until the printer actually stops working. Anyway, right, where were we? Right, start again. Acclaimed filmmaker Christopher Nolan's recent comments regarding Zack Snyder have caused a stir. Both Christopher Nolan and Zack Snyder have previously had the opportunity to direct live-action adaptations of stories from DC Comics. Nolan led the Christian Bale-led The Dark Knight trilogy, while Snyder paved the way for the DC Extended Universe by working on Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, which I think the Ultimate Edition is a masterpiece, I'm sorry, I do, and Justice League, before Joss Whedon took the wheel. Snyder has now gone on to develop his own sci-fi franchise, beginning with Rebel Moon. And don't forget, Army of the Dead. I hope we get some more of that, because I quite enjoyed that. But Nolan continues to praise his superhero influences and his impact on other superhero franchises, including the MCU and DC Universe. Oh, good yawn. Ooh, cracky. Do apologise. Sci-Fi Quest says, I use refillable cartridges for my printer, but can't remember when I last used the printer. I just use them to print, well, I'll occasionally print out like a letter or something. Mostly just use them to print out my drawings I've done. Like that one. Oh, you can't see. Oh, it's moved me up. I've just noticed it. When there's other things, it moves me up, so I'm not hidden. Like my drawings and stuff I print out, 'cause that's the original pencil, and then I print them out as well. So that's all I use it for. Anyway. I think in my Amazon wish list, I think I've got a colour laser printer in there, which I'll never buy. It might not even be available anymore. Anyway. Letter. That's what I've forgotten. All right. I've reminded you've got a letter to see to. Oh dear. Where were we? During a December 2023 cover story of Zack Snyder for The Atlantic, Christopher Nolan noted that Snyder seems to have influenced every superhero science fiction film coming out these days. These comments have led to some confusion, as it's unclear exactly how Zack Snyder has influenced superhero movie making across every live-action franchise. Ooh, particularly that trifle. I shouldn't have eaten it all. I can't make trifle because I'm rubbish and a bloke. So I bought a trifle. My son doesn't like it for Christmas. A sherry trifle. And my son doesn't like it, so I've just sat and eating it myself. Not in one sitting, in 2 sittings, but it was quite a lot. Now I'm suffering for it. Anyway, where were we? Particularly since the director has had nothing to do with the MCU or SSU. What the hell's the SSU? SSU. Something universe, obviously. I don't. What's SSU? Windgrace, I'll know. Though it's clear Snyder did leave his mark on the now concluded DCEU. What's SSU? Don't know. Nevertheless, Nolan's recent comments have proven the bond between the two acclaimed filmmakers and provide some insight into just how influential Zack Snyder's work in superhero media might have been. Oh, Suicide Squad. Oh, well, I thought that was part of the DCEU. That's what I thought. Ha 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 ha, says Sci-Fi Quest. I imagine him sitting, throwing his head back like that. Snyder claiming he's responsible for superhero movie making. Is that why they suck? Ha ha ha. Yes, well, I think it's Nolan saying that Snyder's responsible, isn't it? I think it's Nolan saying that Snyder is responsible. Not Snyder himself. Anyway, there's no superhero science fiction coming out. This is a quote, I presume, from Christopher Nolan. There's no superhero science fiction film coming out these days where I don't see some influence of Zack Snyder. When you watch a Zack Snyder film, you see and feel his love for the potential of cinema, the potential of it to be fantastical, to be heightened in its reality, but to move you and to excite you. And there's Watchmen, another masterpiece, in my opinion. After working on 2006's 300, adapted from the 1998 comic book of series of the same name, which is a great film, Zack Snyder was hired to develop a live-action Watchmen project based on the DC Comics 1986-87 limited series. Back in November 2023, Christopher Nolan once again offered his support for Snyder, as the pair have been close friends since the development of 2009's Watchmen. Nolan is even a producer and helped develop the story for 2013's Man of Steel. Windgrace says, according to Google, SSU is the Sony Spider-Man universe. Never heard it called that before. No, me neither. Right, Sony Spider-Man universe. Right. Fair enough. Surely should be the SS-MU then. Oh dear. SSU, only good Marvel movies at the moment. Pretty much. Apart from the Guardians of the Galaxy ones. But done now, them, aren't they? Where were we? Speaking to the Hollywood Reporter, Nolan noted that Watchmen was ahead of its time. It's a masterpiece, in my opinion, praising Snyder's filmmaking style and approach to character, even though the project didn't fare as well among audiences. It was a bit long. But I think it's a masterpiece. It's an amazing film. I've always believed Watchmen was ahead of its time. The idea of a superhero team, which it so brilliantly subverts, wasn't yet a thing in movies. It would have been fascinating to see it released post-Avengers. The friendship between Christopher Nolan and Zack Snyder, to be honest, when I saw the headline of the article, I thought there were friction. I thought something had happened and he'd said something bad. Obviously not, which is why I chose it. Sci-Fi Quest says, Snyder claiming was the wrong way round. Sorry, was typing too fast. Don't worry about it. Windgrace says, so the SSU doesn't count the Spider-Man movies. Right. Only Morbius, Madame Web, Craven, Venom, etc. All right. But well, why doesn't it count the Spider-Man movies? Because they're Sony as well, and they're in conjunction with Marvel. The MCU. I don't know. You know what? I didn't mind Morbius. I know people take crap and stuff, but I didn't mind it. I liked the first Venom, but I've never got all the way through the second one. In fact, I've never got as further than the toilet/bathroom scene at the beginning. So I can't say about that. Spider-Man movies are in the MCU. Well, yeah, but still technically Sony films, aren't they? So it's because they cross over that they're not counting them. I don't know. But even then, what was it? Was it Venom? I think, was it? did Venom sort of like dipped its toe in the MCU as well, didn't it? I'm sure it did. Anyway, whatever. Eat his head. Don't know. I don't know that one. It's because the SSU can't actually use Spider-Man. All right, okay. But the MCU can use the Spider characters. It's all very confusing and legal stuff. Anyway, the friendship between Christopher Nolan and Zack Snyder has lasted well over a decade, and the pair continue to solidify their bond in their support for each other's works. Snyder was recently gifted an early screening of Nolan's 2023 epic Oppenheimer, while Nolan's praise towards Snyder followed the release of Rebel Moon, which garnered negative reviews, but not from me. 7.5 out of 10 from me, which is solid. Has given some credibility to the 2023 project. While Zack Snyder continues to polarize audiences and critics alike, the director can always count on Christopher Nolan to offer a supportive hand, even if his comments might not actually be, the consensus. Which is fair enough, and that's it, isn't it? I thought there was friction when I saw the headline. I thought there'd be fighting, but no. Sci-Fi Quest says post-credit scene suggests Venom. Yes, both SSU and MCU. Yes, that's it. It's all very complicated. The Wingris says personally, I think Nolan did more damage to the DCEU than Snyder. I'm not. I like the Nolan Batman films. I just don't like Christopher Bale as Batman. I don't like him, but I quite like the films. The films themselves were all right. But I didn't like Christian Bale. What was up with his voice? It got on my nerves. With his, as the films went on, his voice got more. You couldn't tell what he was saying. Putting on his gravelly voice. Anyway, whatever. But as I said, I liked Batman versus Superman, the Ultimate Edition. Thought that were great. DCEU post-Brexit. Yeah, what? I don't know. 2016, everything. Let's say 2016 was the year that everything changed, didn't it? On Earth, we had Brexit. We had what were it? Me Too. We had the Ghostbusters all-female thing, and everything changed in 2016, didn't it? Everything changed for the worse, in my opinion. Right, let's move on. Star Trek stuff now. Yes, 4 Star Trek stories. Windgrass says, I like a bunch of the DCEU movies, but had Nolan never gotten supremely popular with the dark and grounded Batman films, they wouldn't have tried too hard to follow that trend, or so hard, sorry, to follow that trend. Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. That's how I liked his films. I like the the Nolan Batman films, but I just didn't like Christian Bale. But anyway, I liked him in. I like Christian Bale in. I forgot the name of it now. The film with the dragons in. Reign of Fire. I liked him in that. I thought it was all right. and I don't think I've ever seen American Psycho all the way through. And he was all right as a kid in Empire of the Sun. Anyway, right, Star Trek. That's happy stuff. Happy stuff. Also starring Dr. Bashir. Empire of the Sun, but Dr. Bashir in that. Is that what we're on about? I don't know. I can't remember. Alexander Siddiq, or as he was known originally, Siddiq El Fadil, wasn't he? Oh, Reign of Fire. Were he in that? I can't remember. It's a while since I've seen it. Reign of Fire. It's a while since I've seen Reign of Fire. But it was a good film. I did enjoy it. Has it aged well? I don't know. I'll have to give it another whirl and see if it has aged well. Right. Star Trek Voyager revival finally happening. This from Giant Freaking Robots. So the answer is probably no. I've just noticed. Look, it goes like from Jason Collins, and there's the season 4 onwards crew of Voyager. Right. Following a number of reports suggesting the revival of Star Trek Voyager and the appearance of numerous Voyager characters in Star Trek Prodigy, fans are led to believe the show's revival is imminent. We can't confirm that as true due to the lack of official confirmations. We can, however, speculate, that's the key word, further on whether or not the revival is truly taking place, given the planned cameos in store for Prodigy Season 2. Voyager's Doctor returns in Prodigy Season 2 with his massive dome. I know he's got a bald head as Robert Picardo, but I mean, that's good. Artistic license there, isn't there? Most of these reports stemmed from clip teasers regarding the upcoming Star Trek Prodigy Season 2, which featured the return of Robert Picardo as the Doctor and gave us a glimpse of an updated USS Voyager A. Kind of excited, I am, sorry. These depictions unleashed an avalanche of speculative reports and unverifiable industry insights regarding the show's revival, which actually isn't all that surprising considering that a good chunk of Star Trek Voyager's crew has already returned to the Star Trek franchise. This is particularly true when it comes to Prodigy. Voyager favourites show up in other Star Trek shows, and there's the lovely Jerry Ryan as the equally lovely Captain 7 of 9. For example, Kate Mulgrew, that's not Kate Mulgrew, who portrays, I still think is a handsome woman, as Captain Picard would say. For example, Kate Mulgrew, who portrays the iconic Catherine Janeway in Star Trek Voyager, has already made an appearance or voiced the character in Prodigy. Furthermore, she's joined by Robert Beltran, who portrayed her old first officer, Chakotay. Is that his only name, by the way? Is he just Chakotay? Does he have any other, Chakotay Smith or whatever? Or is it just Chakotay? I'm just curious. But Prodigy isn't the only release within the franchise that features iconic appearances from Star Trek Voyager, which only adds more fuel to an already raging rumour mill. Robber, or Rober. What is the matter? Is that proofreading a lost art or something? I think it is, isn't it? Robert Duncan McNeil, that's probably misspelled as well. I don't know. Reprised an animated version of Tom Paris, and Jerry Ryan and Tim Russ made live-action reprisals. Is that the right use of the word reprisals? A reprisal is like, a response, isn't it? But anyway, whatever. Reprises, or reprises, not reprisals. Anyway, of their Voyager roles. Yes, they forgot the T. They did. Still no confirmation of a Voyager revival. And there's the Voyager crew again, post, season 5, 6, I don't know. That might be season 4, but she got the silver suit. And that one that's later on, isn't it? 'Cause they give her a more comfortable outfit, didn't they? Because she couldn't breathe in that bugger, apparently. F's in the chat for Kez. Yeah. Quite sad, though, isn't it, what happened with Jennifer Lien? Really. But anyway, that lovely soft voice she had, and apparently she's mental, isn't she, in real life? But anyway. But what did they expect, though, really? They bring a character on what's they say it's going to be a 7-season show, and a character that's only going to live, I think they initially said 10 years, but I think did they say 9 years in the like Bible or whatever? And she was coming up to 2-year-old, I think, when they first met her. So I think was the plan originally for her to grow up and grow old during the 7 years and have a die an old lady in season 7? Don't know. 10 years in the pilot, 9 after. Yeah, well, whatever. But I wonder, was that the plan? She was going to grow old during the 7 seasons and die as an old lady, Kez, in season 7. But it didn't happen, did it? They booted her out, and then she went on a mad rampage across America, getting arrested for various stuff. Anyway, she and Avery were good in American History X, by the way. Can't say I've seen it. Can't say I've seen it. Right, with all of that said, there's still no official confirmation regarding Star Trek Voyager's revival, obviously. But that doesn't stop the fandom and media outlets from speculating. Oh, God, I'm still burping. Hopefully, the outcries of the Star Trek loving public will reach the eardrums of the producers. Alex Kurtzman, in it. He's just obsessed with his Section 31 of Starfleet Academy. Just hoping all the other noise will go away. That's what he's hoping. Anyway. Outcries of the start of the producers and our wishes will be granted. Admittedly, half of those already were, considering that Star Trek Prodigy is widely regarded by the fandom as a spiritual successor of the Voyager series. More Trek cameos in store for Prodigy Season 2. Do you know what? I've forgotten the names already of the characters. Even though I've played the game and seen the names all over. I'm hopeless. The Hangman Brothers? Do you mean Hageman? Hangman. Is this an AI thing? They're calling it again there, look. I think it's Hageman, isn't it? Brothers specifically stated that they had no intentions of becoming the Voyager show. However, it's really hard not to think of Prodigy as a spiritual successor of Star Trek Voyager when you have both Janeway and Chakotay appearing in the series, along with the announced appearance of the Doctor, who is the best Doctor on TV right now. But the good stuff doesn't end there. Hageman Brothers. Is it Hageman? I bloody forgot already. Also announced the appearance of other legacy Star Trek characters, but they haven't disclosed which ones, apart from the fact that they're not from Voyager. Star Trek Voyager, nearly 3 decades later, and there's Kate Mulgrew as Captain Janeway, handsome woman. Topic says, I love dragon movies. How to Train Your Dragon, Dragon Fighter, Dean Cain, Reign of Fire, to name a few. Dragon Heart, like that, with Sean Connery. I'm a dragon, yes. Hey. Don't forget, Garrett Wang, whatever, said, I appear to Prodigy last year. Okay. I appear in Prodigy, did he say? Yes, the Hageman Brothers. Yes, Hageman, not Hangman. Hey. Sorry. He said, I belong to Prodigy. Oh, right. Did your auto translate? Because Wingrace is that this alien being that's come from another planet, and he's like his universal translator changed belong to appear originally. That's what happened. Anyway, he's not just an alien from another planet. He's an omnipotent being, akin to Q, but probably more powerful. His Wingrace. But anyway. For those who aren't acquainted with Star Trek Voyager, the show follows the adventures of the Starfleet vessel USS Voyager as it attempts to return home to the Alpha Quadrant after being stranded 70,000 light years away in the Delta Quadrant at the far side of the Milky Way galaxy. By the way, I always like how other alien races that they come across also share the Federation's dividing up of the Milky Way galaxy into the Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and Delta quadrants. And it's just, they just do, because that's how it is. But anyway, the series is notable for introducing numerous new alien species, including the infamous Borg. No, they appeared in the Next Generation first. Oh, sorry, which were first introduced in Voyager and set the stage for their appearance in the Next Generation. Put that the other way around. Unbelievable. Winker says, I come from the J continuum. Yes. Where all the Joshers come from. Is Firestar, Twisted Firestar, yeah, it's Prodigy. See, hang on.
I understood that reference.
Yes, it's a mental article. It's mental. What is it? Oh, it's a giant freaking robot. What do you expect? Star Trek Voyager was a massively popular television show. I don't know. I mean, it got its 7 seasons, but I think only just, that produced numerous media spin-offs. It's real. I mean, it was flagging, wasn't it, by season 3, which is why they brought in Jerry Ryan, for the dad's bit of sex appeal, and that lifted the audience viewers, didn't it? Because sex sells, doesn't it? Anyway, Star Trek Voyager was a massively popular television show that produced numerous media spin-offs, and it's really no wonder why the fandom is excited at the possibility of its revival. Well, one can only hope. Source, Cinema Blend. So we've got to blame Cinema Blend for all the mistakes. Is that it? Yes, that's it. Hey. Yes, hopefully. It'd be nice if they did, like I said, if Prodigy does bring some of the Voyager cast back. It'd be nice if we do get a Star Trek Legacy, or whatever they're going to call it, with the adventures of the Enterprise G/Titan A, whatever, that some of the Voyager crew, appear in that as well. It'd be cool, and I'd really like that. But it's pipe dreams, isn't it? It's pipe dreams. Right, let's move on. Sticking with Star Trek. The Star Trek Ensign kicked off Next Generation for not being submissive. Another giant freaking robot by T.J. Small. And there she is, Sonia Gomez, spilling her hot chocolate that she shouldn't have had in engineering anyway, because she's stupid, and I didn't like the character from the start, and her eyes are all wonky. I'm sorry, but anyway. Wingrace says the Hagerman said that the Doctor is just the tip of the iceberg, and that not all the returning characters are from Voyager. Cool. So we're going to have some from Next Gen or Deep Space Nine. They've had Deep Space Nine ones before, haven't they? So could be more from Deep Space Nine. We will see. Sci-Fi Quest says, I think the source Cinema Blend needs to watch Star Trek Next Generation, then Voyager, to get a proper grasp on the timeline. Yes, they do. Unbelievable, wasn't it? Right. Anyway, Sonia Gomez. Right. I think, is it? Yes. Fans of, because I get names wrong, you know what I'm like. Fans of Star Trek The Next Generation will surely recall the time that a young ensign spilled hot chocolate all over Captain Picard in the show's 2nd season. Yep. Never liked her. She obviously made an impression, though, because I remember the bloody name, didn't I? What many fans may not know, however, is that the ensign was destined for a much greater storyline, which was left on the cutting room floor. Wingrace says, I think the only classic series Prodigy didn't have so far is Enterprise. Yeah, it'd be a bit hard, though. I mean, they could have them in hologram form, I suppose, because quite a way in the past, didn't it? But they did have a denobulant, which, cool. Yes, they did. Anyway, forgot what I want now. What many fans... I just read that bit. Cutting room floor. Actress, how do you pronounce that? Is it Licia Naff? Has revealed in a recent interview that her character, Sonia Gomez, was originally slated to have a bigger role in Star Trek, including a romance arc with Geordie LaForge. Pardon me. Like many members of the expanded universe, Sonia Gomez was a short-lived but memorable character. I remembered it, even though I didn't like her. In the Next Generation, revived by an episode of Star Trek Lower Decks. And there she is. Actually, I don't remember that bit. I don't. Lower Decks has a history of bringing back minor characters like Ensign Gomez, who managed to leave a mark on viewers while only appearing in a handful of episodes. I'm trying to see what her rank is there. So I can't remember that bit. Obviously, on a station in Space Dock there, aren't there, with the Cerritos in the background. Anyway. Win Grace, oh no. Was she a captain? See, I told you. She was a captain. He'll remember. Sci-Fi Quest says, there are not rumours of an Enterprise revival being considered with an appearance in Strange New Worlds at some point. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to see some of the Enterprise crew. They'd be a bit old, like, wouldn't they? But, you know, maybe to Paul or somebody like that. But, yes, it'd be cool. It'd be cool. Speaking of Strange New Worlds, where have I put it? Hang on. Look what I got for Christmas. Hang on, can you see me? There we go. Strange New World Season 2 on Blu-ray. Yay! Got that for Christmas. I forgot what I'm pressing now. Is it that one? Yeah. Anyway. She was a captain. It was a main part of the episode. Probably, I can't remember the episode. You know what I'm like? I'm hopeless. Phlox was asked to be in Discovery, I think, early on, but said no. In Discovery? Oh, yeah, because that was set, yeah. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah. Yes. Set before the original series, wasn't it? Yeah. In the first 2 seasons. Right, where were we? Hang on. Gomez was captain of the USS Archimedes in the lower decks episode, First Contact. See, and he just knows this. He's not looking it up or anything, is Winggrace. It's there in his memory banks, and he just knows it. But see, I've forgotten already. I have. You know, and I like lower decks now. I didn't used to, but I like it now. But I still can't remember anything about it. Anyway. Right, where were we? The animated series recently pulled a similar stunt with Nick Locano, the nearly forgotten, disgraced Starfleet captain. What? From a single 1992 episode of The Next Generation. He was a cadet, for Christ's sake, not a captain. I bet Winggrace is doing exactly the same thing that I'm doing now, sighing and shaking his head. Unbelievable. Sci-Fi Questions. The only disco I'm looking forward to is the one after the final Discovery episode. It's over. Woohoo! Yes. And we'll all be giving it with a glitter ball. Giving it all that. Yes. Yes, it's still giant freaking robot. That's facts out there. I think GFR stands for got facts wrong. I know there's a W in wrong, but you know it's giant freaking robot, so that's part of the joke. Anyway, where were we? The original plan for Ensign Sonia Gomez before her role in Star Trek was minimised was to serve as a love interest for Geordie LaForge. Apparently, producers informed Licia Naff, as I said, apologies for pronouncing that wrong, that her portrayal as the character was too funny and charismatic to serve as the awkward and submissive character they had envisioned her to be. Submissive. As a result, her contract was not renewed, and the original plan for Geordie was reconfigured in the following season. What are you meowing for? What are you meowing for? What's up? Because I'm in your chair, aren't I, Princess? She's staked a claim to my computer chair, so she's meowing. She'll probably jump up on the back of the chair in a minute. Bet she does. You'll see her appear in a minute. Where are you going? What are you up to? She's having to sit down. Sci-Fi Quest says the choo-choo dance will be a must. Doing the locomotion. I must have to turn my channel into nothing but correcting the giant freaking robot problem. You'd get like, you'd have like thousands of videos. Where were we? Hang on. Maybe do a giant freaking Mondays video each week and going over issues. Yep. Have your work cut out for you. The original plan saw Geordie, who requires the assistance of a high-tech visor in order to see. I'll just say, who is blind and wears a futuristic visor. Anyway, to seek a potentially dangerous eye surgery in order to finally lay eyes on Sonia Gomez. Oh, God. Unfortunately, Star Trek producers felt that a quick-witted quip would fail to elicit the love-struck reaction they hoped the audience would feel at the loving union. Well, just don't write it then. I mean, she's not making it up, is she? What? It's not ad-libbing, or maybe it might be, but, if it's not in the script. As a result of Gomez disappearing from the show unceremoniously, she shouldn't have spilled coffee on Picard. I mean, obviously, that's probably why she got booted off. Yeah. The eye surgery arc never occurred for Geordie, leaving his disability as an incidental element to his character. And there she is, having spilled hot chocolate that she shouldn't have had in engineering anyway. So that's probably why, she got booted off the Enterprise. But didn't do a career any harm. She went on to become a captain, did you? In pretty quick time, to be honest. I mean, ensigns, you're supposed to stay an ensign for donkey's years, aren't you? I'm sure I saw an episode once where Data described, the length of time that you usually stay at a certain rank. And he said something like 12 years as an ensign and, so many years as a lieutenant and all that. But anyway. He never had the eye surgery. He never had a healthy relationship with a woman. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Not as far as we know. Not that they showed. He fell in love with a hologram, didn't he? That's kind of the Harry Kim of the Next Generation, wasn't it? Or Harry Kim was the Geordie LaForge of Voyager. Whatever. You've left the door wide open, haven't you, Princess? Yes, you have. I thought it was cold. Where are you? She's eating. She's gone in the kitchen. She's eating the biscuits. And she's left the door wide open and freezing now. Sci-fi quest. Windgrace, giant freaky Monday madness, baggy trousers. It's getting all the popular music references in his sci-fi quest. Where were we? Despite Geordie being constantly lost for love, fans resonated with the short-lived Sonia Gomez, leaving Star Trek Lower Decks with a prime opportunity to mount her return. By the time Gomez shows up in the Lower Decks episode First Contact, she has been promoted to captain, proving that her snafu with a glass of hot chocolate was little more than a speed bump on her road to Starfleet success. Was she in one of the books? I've not read them, but I'm sure I saw somewhere that she were in. It might be in the Titan books, with the Riker on the USS Titan, or others, or maybe the other ones, Excalibur books. Was she in those? I don't know. Could be wrong. Probably am wrong. Where were we? The minor role clearly struck a chord with fans of the Next Generation who jumped at the opportunity to hear from the former ensign once more. Apparently, the story of Captain Sonia Gomez extends beyond Naf's portrayal, as the characters appeared in the Star Trek novel series Starfleet Corps of Engineers as well. Oh, that might be what I'm thinking of. The books, which were published from 2000 through 2007, provide a deeper backstory and lore for the character, showcasing her relationships outside of work and following her rise to the rank of captain. All in all, it seems that Sonia Gomez serves as yet another example of Star Trek's intricate plot lines, proving that characters are never truly forgotten within the long-running franchise. I think I've got these books. Remember if you're watching, and if you could stand sitting through 4 hours of me talking about James Bond films, I was saying I've got down here, underneath a big pile of other things, I've got one of them old Kindle tablets, paperwhite ones. And I've put on there, and I'm sure on there I've got all the Ian Fleming books, Bond books, and I think I've got loads of Star Trek books as well, legally obtained. And I think all them are in as well, Star Trek Corps of Engineers books. So that might be where I've seen it. Anyway, Shelby and Tuvok were in the Titan books. Gomez was in the Corps of Engineers books, but I didn't read them. Oh, pardon me. Right. Okay, cool. Oh, that's it. Right, we're done. I'm going to have to dig it out. It's down there somewhere. It's underneath, because I'm totally disorganized. Down here, I've got like an Xbox remote not remote controller. It's plugged in. Never used the bugger. I've got loads of other stuff as well. Got me, me spare ink cartridges. All my USB ports. USB hubs. I've got about 4 of them plugged in. And underneath that lot somewhere, there's me Kindle Paperwhite tablet. Remember them? Anyway, right. I'm going to have to dig it out and have a read. Charge it up and have a read. Right, next. More Star Trek. Patrick Stewart flat out rejected the first script for Star Trek Insurrection. This is from Slash Film. Whitney Seibold. And there he is. Is that in Insurrection or is that in Nemesis? No, that's in Insurrection, isn't it? Where he meets the little alien Queen Victoria. She just reminds me. Where he's got to say, I forgot. Something like Ilan Chuford or something like that. Something like that. Anyway, Jonathan Frakes' 1998 film Star Trek Insurrection is hardly the most celebrated of the 13 extant Star Trek movies. The film wasn't terribly well reviewed. It's not great. It's not terrible either when it was released, and the general fan consensus seems to dictate that it may be the least of the 4 films based on Star Trek The Next Generation. Probably. It probably is. It's like a cinematic. Did that come out? Cinematic 2-parter, from the series. Anyway, notably, Insurrection looks cheap. Yeah, the effects aren't that good either, to be completely honest. I don't think it was Industrial Light and Magic that did them, did they? I think they got somebody else in. But anyway, the bulk of the film's action takes place on the Baku homeworld, but the filmmakers were unable to do anything to make it look appropriately alien. The exteriors were filmed in Thousand Oaks, California, as well as the Sierra Nevada mountain range. And, well, it looks like they just shot the film in California. At least they didn't do Vasquez Rocks, did they? It wasn't ILM. The shuttle looks pretty bad, in my opinion. Yeah, that's it. Not the best. But I've seen worse. Anyway. Additionally, the Baku were given no alien makeup, leaving them looking like regular old people. And they were old as well. They just didn't look it. Worst of all, the Baku costume designs were unbearably boring. Well, they were the typical Star Trek Next Generation Berman era, sort of like civilian clothes, which basically just look like sacks. They're all like brown, all like muted colours, and for some reason, I think they didn't want to go with like quasi-futuristic silver clothes, and they just like went total opposite. Made people dress like peasants that weren't in Starfleet. Made dress like peasants. Anyway, boring. As everyone was draped in loose-fitting off-white hippie wear that even mannequins would be embarrassed by. I think Princess wants to go out now. She's pointing herself at the back door. Just bear with me. Just look at the wormhole for 30 seconds. I'll be back. I'll mute myself so you can't hear me going, "Get out of the bloody house, cat." I don't say that. I'm back. I'm back. She hasn't gone out. He's chucking it down outside. Anyway. Right. Sci-Fi Quest says, change CGI companies. Not as bad as KK shutting down LucasArts. Then wonder why the fans don't like the CGI in the new movies and shows. Well, LucasArts just did the games, didn't they? The Star Wars games and the Indiana Jones games. Shut LucasArts down and give all the rights to Electronic Arts, didn't they? Some bizarre reason. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know did the effects. It'll be something like Digital Domain or something like that. I can't remember who it was. They made them look human for a reason because they wanted the contrast between them and the Sona. Yeah. And I bet Patrick Stewart said, "I'm not falling in love with an alien, with somebody with lumps on the head." I bet he said that. Term. Hang on. Where's term? They made them look human for a reason, but they want the contrast between them and the Sona. Term. I don't know what terms. Oh, them. Them. Gonna hate my phone. Oh dear. Oh, they made. Oh, yes, he said they made they. See, I didn't even realise. I didn't even realise he'd made a mistake. Anyway, yeah, but I bet Patrick Stewart said, "I'm not snogging somebody with lumps on the head. I want to snog Donna Murphy, not Donna Murphy in a wharf thing." Anyway, I'm Picard, not Riker. Honestly, yes. Anyway, I'd snog Donna Murphy. Who wouldn't? Right, the story was also a tired retread of the Next Generation episode Who Watches the Watchers, sort of, where the Starfleet officers secretly ensconced among a primitive species, are accidentally revealed in Insurrection. An evil species called the Sonar aims to rob the Baku homeworld of life-giving fountain of youth like radiation and forcibly relocate its few inhabitants. It's about 600 or something. Picard, Patrick Stewart, is ordered to help, but defies orders after falling in love with a Baku Donna Murphy. And she's a handsome woman who apparently can't swim in the film, and Data's got a flotation device. Never mind. There's a lot of mistakes. Not mistakes. Yeah, there's a lot of mistakes in the film. It's not the best. It's not the best. He's seen everything, yes. So I guess he knows what he wants, yes. Yeah. Somebody didn't. I bet he said, "Can we make her clothes fall off?" Spontaneously. She tries to cover up, but it's too late. I've seen everything. I've seen it all. According to the oral history book, the 50-year mission, the next 25 years from the Next Generation to J.J. Abrams, just forget that bit, edited by Mark A. Altman and Edward Gross, Stewart hated the original script for Insurrection and handed it back to screenwriter Michael Piller in disgust. That was, as Piller said, a dark day. And there's F. Murray Abraham as the leader of the Sonar with his little cut on his head that keeps bleeding because they stretch the skins because they want to make themselves look younger and they just look stupid. Somehow this tiny group of spoilers, they're the Baku as well. The young Baku that wanted to live out amongst the stars. So a small group of them, it doesn't say how many, left and somehow conquered 2 other planets who were, they weren't technologically advanced planets, but they conquered them and now they're slaves. But they seem quite happy. Anyway. Ingrid says, I bet you use that flotation device back in the naked now. Yeah. 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 How old are you? Just slams the door in his face. Yeah, you're rude. How dare you? Yes. Just slam the door in his face, shouldn't she? Anyway, speaking of Patrick Stewart, I have his memoir. Patrick Stewart making it so. A memoir. Not read it yet. Not ready. I'll get round to it. Oh, it's got slides in it with pictures. Should we pick a random page and see what he says in a random page? Near the back. What saved me from the darkness of this period was work. In Star Trek The Next Generation, I had found a company as dear to me as the RSC. And fortunately, we were hitting our stride in the 3rd season. Oh, very good. So what was that darkness? Dunno. I'll have to read it to find out. There we go. So I got that off for Christmas. Thanks, Marie. I'm going to read it, honestly. Anyway, where were we? Right. Speaking of Patrick Stewart and the Royal Shakespeare Company, in my James Bond double bill on Christmas Day, we found out that Stromberg's assistant, the one who gets eaten by sharks, the actress was a Royal Shakespeare Company actress who played opposite Patrick Stewart. So there we go. Oh, pardon me. Patrick Stewart, the pop-up book. Yes. The dirty old bugger. Anyway, Michael Piller recalled, Patrick rejected the first draft I had written, and let me tell you, that was a very dark day. Oh, just said that. At the same time, and I mean this sincerely, it wasn't the script he was reacting to, but the first story. And he was right. No writer likes to hear that, but I can say without hesitation that the conflicts with Patrick, and although he was right about the story, the direction we took from there, we had a great deal of conflict over regarding his character. I felt there were points I had to win to make the script work. Early ideas for Insurrection included a sci-fi rendition of Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, wherein Picard would be sent on a dangerous mission to retrieve a mad soldier gone rogue, Apocalypse Now, which, is that. Piller once noted that he also conceived of a story where Picard kills Data, Brent Spiner, after the android malfunctioned. It may have been that last story that Patrick Stewart objected to. Eventually, Piller, producer Rick Berman, and the other filmmakers all began to focus on a story based on political ethics. Not really an insurrection, though, was it? Really, when it was first announced, when first going to say the next Star Trek film was going to be called Star Trek Insurrection, before we knew anything about the story, I was thinking it was going to be like a rebellion going on within the Federation. That's what I thought was happening, or within Starfleet. But it ended up not being like that, didn't it? I mean, that sounds fine. I love the look of the Enterprise E. The D always look for me off for me for some reason. I like the E because it's more sleek and dangerous looking, isn't it? But I did like the D because the D, it wasn't the E. Were like a warship essentially, wasn't it? It was essentially to fight the Borg, wasn't it? That's how its design came about. It and the Defiant and all that. But the E were more of an exploration vessel, wasn't it? It was a big, like a cruise liner in space, wasn't it, with its families and all that. But I still like the D. I don't like. There's parts of it I don't. I think its warp nacelles look a little bit blobby, But the rest of it, I think it looks lovely. But anyway, where were we? Where were we? Did the focus on political ethics? There we go. Would you help forcibly relocate 600 people if it provided a technology that could save lives, cure diseases, and defy aging? Piller said, we had long and difficult conversations, letters and meetings, and without a doubt, that script is far better as a result of that conflict. It certainly is important to realise that from conflict with people who really care about the material and are really smart, good results can come. The result here, I think, is one of the most interesting roles that Picard has had to play in a Star Trek story. How many makes it wrong, Admiral? 100? 1,000? 1,000,000? Something like that. That was paraphrasing. I never cared for the interior of the E. You know, I've never thought about the inside of it. I always look at the outsides. Never thought about the corridors and stuff. Aside from the reuse sets from Voyager. Yeah. I'd say I've never really thought about it, to be honest. What are you up to? You're not going out, it's chucking it down. Anyway, Star Trek Insurrection has many messages, and you've got his... What? Is that it must be a sonar phase of that, because it's not a Starfleet one, is it? Insurrection is ultimately muddled, dull, and as stated above, cheap. It's not dull. I won't call it dull. But it is a bit muddled. But reading the filmmakers' theories on the movie as it was being made, one can see what they were getting at. F. Murray Abraham, who plays the selfish, vain, and murderous sonar captain Ruafo, Adar Ruafo, noted that Insurrection was about the dangers of vaunting technology over the natural world. By the way, also this was going on during the height of the Dominion War, wasn't it? I think, or maybe just after the Dominion War had ended, but it was around about that time, wasn't it? Because they mentioned that the sonar also made Ketracel white for the Dominion, so it must have been then, mustn't it? Anyway, director and actor Jonathan Frakes zeroed in on the ethics, seeing Admiral Dougherty, is it Zerby? I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Is it Zerby or just Zerb? I don't know. As being happy to sacrifice 600 lives for a potential disease cure-all, while Picard focused on the human cost. So what they were going to do, they were going to basically transport the 600 Baku into a cloaked hologram ship. So they'd go to sleep at night, because apparently the whole Baku all went to sleep at the same time. And they'd beam them into this ship, and they'd wake up on their way to another world, and then they get... And presumably they've built an exact replica of the Baku village with all the surrounding countryside. It looks exactly the same. I suppose they thought, once we get them there, it doesn't really matter, but they'd take them to another planet. They can't do anything about it once they're there, can they? Which had also been done. That done about the Who Watches the Watchers with the duck blind, cloaked observation post, which had been done in Who Watches the Watchers, but also the thing about transporting people without their knowledge had also been done in now then. Was it done in Next Generation or Deep Space Nine? When Worf's brother, I think it was Deep Space Nine, wasn't it? When Worf's human brother, not Kern, his human brother, whose name I've forgotten. Oh, yes. Yes, that they tried on the episode. Yes, that. They did it in that, didn't they? But anyway, so they're just stealing, aren't they? Or just borrowing. Sci-fi questions, but I think the best ship designs in sci-fi are the Rocinante. I don't like that. I think all the ships in The Expanse are not that nice to look at, to be honest. But, they might be realistic. But I don't know that nice to look at. And the BC-304, yes. Is that the Daedalus class? The Daedalus and the Odyssey and the Apollo and all them. Yes, they're cool looking. Was it TNG Season 7? I couldn't remember TNG Season 7 or Deep Space Nine. I couldn't remember. I can't remember the name of it either. But it was a similar idea, wasn't it, where they were going to move something. And he were against it, wasn't he? Or whatever it's called. Something Rozhenko, I forgot his last name. Was it Sergei Rozhenko? Something like that. Anyway. Where were we? All of those ideas are in Insurrection, but the film also wanted to involve action and adventure and ended up being neither a treatise nor a thrill ride. Picard, Michael Piller posited, was still a starship captain, and he was always busy and overwhelmed. The Baku homeworld was an agrarian paradise of tech-rejecting immortals. So, was it a bit like Ventak 3 from The Devil's Due? Because they were an agrarian paradise, weren't they? Anyway, who had the ability to slow down and enjoy the quiet of nature. It gave Picard something to fight for. Piller felt this was a timely story, saying, Information overload became the theme of the next decade. What we find at the beginning of this picture is Picard caught in an avalanche of details. His arc, his journey, is that by going to this planet and finding a group of people who worship each moment of life, he learns a little bit, but obviously, she never learns to swim, does she? There's Donna Murphy. He learns a little bit, pause, and he finds a way to look at life in a slightly different way than he came. And ultimately, as the movie ends, he plans to bring that appreciation to the Federation Council and tell them to slow down a little bit. But does it work? I don't know. It doesn't go back, does it, to the Baku home world, the Briar Patch? He retires to his bleeding vineyard, doesn't he? Anyway. Yes, the Daedalus, the Rocinante was absolutely beautiful, in your opinion. Anyway, sorry, I forgot to include the Serenity. Now, I've never liked the Serenity. I think Serenity is an ugly ship. I do, but whatever. It's only a ship. Patrick Stewart ultimately made the movie, pleased with the script. It's a pity the final product wasn't as grand as that. Yeah. It's not the best, but it's fun. I actually watched it recently. Why did I watch it? It might have been on TV. Because I think the Sky Movies channels have been showing some Star Trek films. And I think it were on then. And me and my mate watched it. And, it's a fine film. It's just not as good as the others. Right. I think we're still on Star Trek, I think. Are we? Moving on. Yes, we are. This is from, is it Screen Rant? Yes, Screen Rant. Jen Watson. Voyager was dead when Shaw made this big mistake, says Star Trek writer. Ronald D. Moore says Star Trek Voyager started with a big mistake that effectively killed one of the most interesting parts of its original premise. And there's the Voyager crew again. Lots of Voyager news in there for some reason. I don't know why. See, he's had enough for Sci-Fi Quest. Right, that's it. I'm unsubscribing. Lol, kidding. I don't like the Serenity. I do like it. I just don't think it's an attractive ship. I think it's a bit an odd shape. It actually reminds me. Actually, the Serenity reminds me of the Star Chaser from the cartoon, Star Chaser: Legend of Odin. I think they've borrowed from that, to be honest. But anyway. I think the Andromeda Ascendant is a pretty ship that deserves an HD model. As a Caesar could never get into Andromeda, but I do admit the ship was nice, I must admit. The Orville, that's quite nice. I'm not sure about the back end of it, but it's a nice ship. But the original Battlestar Galactica, that's amazing. I always wanted one of those as a kid, as a toy Battlestar Galactica. Didn't get one, but I got a Lego, so I made my own, which were just as good for me. Right. One big mistake spelled death for Star Trek Voyager, and it happened right at the end of its pilot episode, Caretaker, says writer Ronald D. Moore. Voyager promised more than the simple story of a Federation vessel making its way home across the Delta Quadrant. Its conflict was supposed to arise from the clash between the Starfleet crew, commanded by Captain Catherine Janeway, Kate Mulgrew, and the members of the Maquis, led by Commander Chakotay, Robert Beltran, who were also, who were also stranded. But that concept faded from Voyager's script fairly early on. Not really. I mean, it kept popping up every now and again that the Maquis crew were different to the Starfleet crew. So I think he's wrong. I think he's wrong. But anyway, writer Ronald D. Moore explains the lack of promised tension between the two halves of Voyager's crew in the 50-year mission, The Next 25 Years, by Mark A. Altman and Edward Gross. This must be an amazing book. Moore posits that the patent ideological differences between Starfleet and the Maquis should have provided more fuel for Star Trek Voyager's fire, but a particular costuming choice reduced the potential bang to mere embers and eventually just ash. Read his quote below in a minute. Andromeda is a very pretty ship. Yes, it is. Yes. Oh, excuse me. Right, quote Ronald D. Moore. When the Maquis put on those Starfleet uniforms at the end of the pilot, the show was dead. Even though it went for 7 years. That was the biggest mistake because they went through this whole thing to bring on their enemies. We made up the Maquis on DS9 just so that they could appear on Voyager. Here are Starfleet officers who had become terrorist resistance fighters, guerrilla warriors. The Federation has got them on the run, and both of these groups are thrown in a ship on another side of the galaxy and forced to live together. You'd think that's the setup for a major show about conflict, but at the end of the pilot, they all put on the Starfleet uniforms and that's it. It's because what's his face? Rick Berman carried on Gene Roddenberry's wish that there be no conflict in the crew, because Starfleet and humans and all that have gone beyond personal inter-crew conflicts. Bad ones. They did pop up every now and again, didn't it? It wasn't perfect. People do fall out, but he wanted it to be one crew. And that's what they say. So I think he's wrong. I think Ronald D. Moore is wrong. Meanwhile, Sci-Fi Quest is saying Lexa TOYG was very pretty too. Michael Shanks, lucky bugger. Yes, he was. He was. And she beat Jason Voorhees as well. Sort of. Voyager had about 1 billion missed opportunities, but it's amazing. I love it all. Yes, well, all Star Trek has missed opportunities. None of them are perfect, but they're all amazing. Classic one. But I love my Strange New Worlds. I can't help myself. I just do. I forgot where we're on now. It was a huge mistake. It should have been these two sides that were forced to work together that still don't like each other and they're still gunning for each other, wondering who's going to come out on top. But they couldn't have that all the time, could they? It wouldn't work. Who's going to betray who? It should have been Gold, but they got scared because you've got like 24 or more episodes a season. You can't have every single episode with the Voyager crew at each other's throats, all the time. You've got to have other external threats, haven't you? Anyway, unfortunately, the fact that DS9 didn't do as well as Next Gen scared them, and they didn't want another dark show that wasn't as successful. They wanted a show that was more like Next Generation. Yes, a ship-based show, and easier to swallow, and where people didn't have to think as much. So they drew all the wrong lessons and said, let's play it safe. He's thinking of his Battlestar Galactica here, isn't it? That's what he's thinking of. That's what he's thinking. That's probably why he left and did Battlestar Galactica, because he wanted the, internal conflict. Note, in Star Trek Voyager Season 6, Episode 10, Pathfinder, the holographic counterparts of Voyager Maquis crew members are dressed in civilian clothing since the program's creator, Lieutenant Reginald Barclay Dwight Schultz, would have no way of knowing they'd adopted Starfleet uniforms. Very good. Star Trek Voyager did in fact play it relatively safe in its early seasons, as Ronald D. Moore suggests, but Voyager rose from the metaphorical dead when ex-Borg 7 of 9 Jerry Ryan joined the cast in Voyager Season 4. See, they're forgetting about Seska and all that, weren't they? Wasn't it 26 episodes? It varied. They varied, didn't they, how many episodes they had? It might have ended up being 26, but I think in like the first few seasons, it varied. If Voyager tried that, would have gone the way of SGU. Yeah, probably. I mean, they could do it now, the way that series are made now with fewer episodes. They could, and with like, overarching, what's the serialized storytelling. It'd probably work now, but back then, that's it. Which I like, by the way. Yes, I like SGU. I didn't like it at the time. At first, but now it's really good. It were made to binge. Stargate Universe were designed to binge, I think. But there we go. Sci-Fi Quest agrees with me. Yes. But yes, SGU were good. Anyway. 7 of 9 joined the cast excuse me, in Voyager Season 4 and fulfilled the promise of conflict between Starfleet and an opposing perspective. Instead of Janeway representing Starfleet's cooperative spirit and needs of the many against Chakotay's Maquis independence, Janeway argued in favour of individualism versus 7 of 9's adamant insistence on the collective superiority. This flipped script helped define Janeway's values through Seven's ongoing opposition. That didn't really last that long either, did it? In costuming 7 of 9, Star Trek Voyager avoided the mistake that sentenced Voyager's Maquis crew members to an early fate of easy cooperation. Besides the obvious appeal, Seven's conspicuous civilian clothing, I won't call it civilian clothing, but never mind, set her apart from Voyager's uniformed crew, while also providing a visual marker that Seven was not part of Starfleet and did not share their values. This costuming choice also served to illustrate how members of the Maquis crew adapted to Starfleet too quickly. She wore high-heeled. Oh dear. That Space Above and Beyond was ahead of its time. If they do remake it, it could be good. If they do it right, yes. If they do it right, and throw out the form that they've got to tick, with the tick boxes on, throw that out, and remake stuff, or continue it. Space Above and Beyond were cool with the chigs and all that. Could they say that now? Don't know. Anyway, I forgot where I was now. This costuming choice also served to illustrate how members of the Maquis crew adapted to Starfleet too quickly, seemingly they didn't have a choice, did they? Seemingly abandoning their Maquis roots the moment they put on their Starfleet uniforms, just as Ronald D. Moore pointed out. No, I mean, I don't know how many of the Maquis there were. Are we ever told how many? How many of the Maquis there were in Chakotay's crew? But it can't have been that many because his ship wasn't that big, was it? I always thought it was like maybe 20 at most, and the crew of Voyager's like 147 or whatever, isn't it? So, they wouldn't be able to take over, would they, really? Yes, Neelix and Kes didn't wear uniforms either. No, they didn't. Although we did occasionally see Neelix in a Starfleet uniform, didn't we? Now and again. Not very often. No message. Okay. What's going on there? I had no idea. Star Trek Voyager is available to stream on Paramount Plus and Netflix in the UK. Is that it? Oh, right. Okay. So I don't agree with Ronald D. Moore there. As I said, I think if they just had the crew at each other's throats for 7 years, the audience would have got a bit fed up of that. And I think they sprinkled in the episodes, where there was strife, quite nicely, to be honest, because you'd forget about it. Sometimes you'd forget that there were Maquis crew. Excuse me. That there were Maquis crew on board, and then they just throw in an episode where it brought it all out again. So I've got a hair in my eye. They just throw one in every now and again, won't they? Particularly that episode with that Seska. She created that program, didn't she? That had to take over Voyager and destroy Voyager and all that, which were good. I liked Seska. I thought Seska were good. I thought they shouldn't have got rid of her at the end of season 2. Season 2 wanted when she died. So they should have brought her back. But they did, didn't they, for that episode that I'm talking about? But that were in hologram form. But anyway, weren't most Maquis ex-Starfleet officers or cadets anyway? Well, some of them were, weren't they? Some of them were, but I don't know if most, but some of them were. But I think most of them were just people that lived on the worlds from the demilitarized zone, weren't they? That the Cardassians were, subjugating. But anyway, but some of them were Starfleet officers. Anyway, so there we go. Right. But I disagree with him. But we'll move on to the last story. Finally. God, these bloody news things are getting longer and longer, aren't they? Gaming news from Nintendo Insider. Alex Seedhouse writes, Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster release date announced. And this is for Nintendo, but I think it's the release date generally. Because I looked on Steam and it's got the same release date on Steam. So there we go. There's the cover. Right, Lucasfilm Games and Night Dive Studios have confirmed the release date for Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster on Nintendo Switch. As I said, I looked on Steam and it's got the same date, so hopefully it's the same for, I don't know, whatever it's PS5 and Xbox or whatever it's coming on. If it is coming on them, I don't know. If it's on Switch, it probably will. Anyway, this has seen the developer look to deliver a faithful remaster of the classic first-person shooter, which was originally released way back in 1995. Hopefully now they're working on Jedi Knight Dark Forces Part 2, hopefully. Because that was an amazing game. In Star Wars Dark Forces, you play as Kyle Katarn. Kyle Katarn. Christopher Neame plays that character in the Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight. In Star Wars Dark Forces, you play as Kyle Katarn, a defector of the Galactic Empire turned mercenary for hire. After joining the Rebel Alliance's covert operations division, he's tasked with infiltrating the Galactic Empire, where he discovers the secret Dark Trooper project. Unless Katarn and the Rebel Alliance intervene, the Imperial battle droids, with power-armored stormtroopers that it would create, only stand to strengthen the Empire's grip on the galaxy. Sorry, that was a badly created sentence, wasn't it? Why did they bring us the game we want? Knights of the Old Republic 3. I don't know, I've not played the first one. I've got it. Got it for the Xbox One somewhere. I don't know where it is. Probably upstairs. Never finished it. I started it, but never finished it. Night Dive Studios has used its proprietary KEX, whatever engine, delivering upgraded gameplay, high-resolution textures, enhanced lighting and rendering, and support for console gamepads with platform-specific features. The publisher has outlined the game's key features, which include all 14 original levels featuring Star Wars worlds and capital ships. Use your ability to jump, duck, and crawl to solve puzzles and defeat enemies. Can you look up? Can't remember if you could. So basically a Doom clone, wasn't it? And basically in Doom, all you could do was just move left and right and backwards and forwards. Could you jump in Doom? I think you could, but you couldn't look up, could you? Like a dog. Dogs can't look up, can they? Apparently. Your personal digital assistant provides you with in-game information, including map inventory and mission briefing, engaging first-person ground combat featuring 10 weapons and 20 types of enemies. Advanced 3D rendering enables updated lighting and atmospheric effects. Modern gamepad support adds a new weapon wheel and rumble. Controller support, vibration and gyro controls. A variety of power-ups are made available to the player, including health, shields, weapons and ammunition. For combat, the player may use fists, explosive landmines, and thermal detonators, as well as blasters and other ranged weapons. Includes immersive environmental puzzles and mazes. Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster will be released digitally on the Nintendo eShop and Steam, because I checked, for Nintendo Switch worldwide on 28th of February 2024. Originally it was a first person. Yes, I think it still is a first person shooter. I've got it for the PlayStation 1 over there somewhere. Remaster Elite Force, please. Yes. Still a good game. I've got that. No, my old computer. I had it on my old computer. Elite Force. Amazing game with all the original voices eventually. I think it took a while for him to get Jerry Ryan because somebody else were doing 7 of 9 originally, weren't they? But she eventually did it. They did an update, didn't they? Is that it? Oh, there we go. Yes, that's it. So 28th of February, we can play that on Nintendo Switch and Steam. I've seen it on Steam. Is it coming out for PS5 and all that as well? Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster. Let's have a look. Right, here we go. It says here that were from Christmas Day. And this one is from IGN. I'll drag it over. I'll drag the bugger over. This is from IGN from last October 24th. And in there, they're saying it's February 28th, 2024, for PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch. So it wasn't, what's his name? Alex Seadow's paying attention. Obviously, I wasn't paying attention. Never mind. So, yes, it's coming for everything you can imagine. That's new. February 28th. Most importantly for me, February 14th, 2024, is when the Tomb Raider trilogy, first 3 Tomb Raider games, the core design ones are coming out, remasters for that, which is what I'm really waiting for. But Sci-Fi Quest wants Starfighter, and there's also Jedi Starfighter as well. Is that what you're on about, them ones? Which I think I've got for the PS2 somewhere, or I might have got rid of them now. I think I've probably got rid of them now. I'm rubbish at those, though. I really am rubbish at, aerial combat games. I am. I can't control things. I can't shoot things. I'm bloody hopeless. But I do like them, but I'm rubbish at them. I've got the ones for the GameCube. I forgot what they're called now. Rebel Assault, and then there were Rebel Strike, or was it the other way around? Them anyway. Got them, and I couldn't do them either. But I like playing them, but I just couldn't do them. Right. Right, we'll leave it there. We've done. That was the last story, so we've done now. Right. Oh, there you go. There's my Stargate thing. I meant to go to that. There we go. Right. Why not a full screen? Whatever. Why can't I go full screen? Press the wrong button. Won't let me go full screen. Don't know why. Stupid. Anyway, never mind. Sci-Fi Quest says, honestly, to be honest, sorry, would prefer new games to remastered ones. Well, as well. I'd like remastered games and new games as well. I want it all. I want to have my cake and eat it. That's what I want. But I didn't like, when they redid Tomb Raider Anniversary way back in the day. I didn't like that. Didn't like it because they changed it too much from the original Tomb Raider. So I didn't like it. But this is the same game, fingers crossed, just remastered and looking nicer and probably playing smoother and all that. So I'm looking forward to that Tomb Raider. But anyway, right, we'll leave it there. So thanks, Sci-Fi Quest. Thanks, Windgrace. Don't think anybody else popped in, did they? And I haven't checked Rumble, see if there's any chats in Rumble. No. You know what? I haven't checked. I don't know. I don't know how Twitch works. There's no chat in Twitch, is there? I can't see any comments. No, nobody's dropped a comment, but it's still going on Twitch. So that's not Twitch, Twitter. You know what I mean? I've got a notification. Oh, that's something else. Never mind. Right. Hang on. Wingris says a good remaster of an old game is great. Yes, I'd like to see Elite Force redone. Star Trek Voyager Elite Force, if you don't know what I'm on about, and Windgrace. It's a great game. Elite Force 2 wasn't bad, but I didn't like it as much as the first one. It was a great Star Trek story. It was great. I loved it. Anyway, when they remastered 2 years later, it's like iffy. Well, yeah. To just upgrade the graphics and stuff. But if you get an old game that's remastered well, then it's cool. It's cool. Oh, an Elite Force 3 would be pretty cool. Yes, if they could, do a new game for that as well. Star Trek Armada. I think I've got that as well somewhere. And I've never played it. I don't think. don't think I ever played. I think I got it from my PS2 or PS3 or whatever. I think it was PS2. And I don't think I ever played it. Never got round to it. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there now because time's getting on. Windgrace liked I'm hard. I said that I don't think I ever played it. I think I've probably still got it somewhere. Anyway. Right, we'll leave it there. So, Empire at War. See, keep coming in. Look. Was that an Empire at War? Was that the one that's like a tactical game? What they call them? A real life strategy one? Is that one? I was never really into them. Command and Conquer and them sort of games. I was never really into them because you have to think too much, and I don't like thinking. I even played the Star Trek 2009 game. I think I've got that as well because it's a 3D game, innit? And I had a 3D telly. I think it came out for the PS3. And famously had lots of glitches in it. I think you could see inside people's heads quite often, couldn't you? 200%. Yeah. That's the one. Yep. Let's see you, pal. See you next time. Yes. See you too. Hopefully. And Windgrace. And yes, nobody else popped in, did they? No, they didn't. Right. So we'll leave it there. So what's coming up next? What day are we on? Wednesday. So Friday is Appointment with Fear Night. We're doing a Christmas horror story, which has a Star Trek connection because it stars William Shatner. Well, he's in it. As the biggest star in it. So we're doing that on Friday, and next Monday is New Year's Day, isn't it? For Magnificent Mondays, and I think it's The Time Machine. Yes, it's The Time Machine from 1960. Oh yes, DJ was here briefly, wasn't he? Yes, DJ popped in at the beginning. And may still be here. I don't know, but he's just not said anything. I don't know. But anyway, thank you all for joining in the chat. As I always say, you make it a million times better, and you keep me on my toes, and you keep setting me right when I get things wrong, which is probably all the time. But yes, so there we go. William Shatner, there's something on the wing, something strange. Yes. There's someone on the wing. Something. Jim Carrey doing William Shatner from the Twilight Zone. Anyway, right, so we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. And until next time, hang on, get myself ready. Until next time, I'll see thee.